is Nationwide 90 FM, owned and operated by Nationwide News Network Limited. We broadcast from our studios at 14 Ocean Boulevard in the Digicel Center, downtown Kingston, Jamaica. Transmitting on the FM 90 band, 90.3 from Peters Rock in St. Andrew and Murphy Hill in St. Anne. Serving Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, St. Anne, parts of Clarendon, St. Mary and St. Thomas. 90.5 from Huntley in Manchester, transmitting to St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Manchester, Clarendon, rural St. Andrew and parts of St. Thomas. And 90.7 from Cooper's Hill in St. Andrew and Flower Hill in St. James. Serving Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, sections of Trelawney, Kingston, St. Catherine, Clarendon, St. Mary, Portland and St. Anne. Nationwide 90 FM also broadcasts on YouTube and Nationwide 90 FM Live too. RevoNews.ai and on Flow on channel 916. Nationwide 90 FM, a new revolution in media.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6 o'clock. From the studios of Nationwide Radio, morning radio the right way. It's Nationwide This Morning. A very good morning to you. I'm Tawna Thomas. Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning, Tuesday, February 10, 2026. Jamaica's net international reserves continue to soar, hitting a new record high in January. Education Ministry says it's supporting the family of 4-year-old killed by gunmen in Manchester on Sunday. Energy Minister says report claiming Jamaica refused to sell fuel to a Cuban vessel is fake news. In regional news, Cuba says effective today, jet fuel will no longer be available to commercial planes. In international news, the UK and US tumble in a global corruption index. In sports, Cavalier put 5 past the Spanish Town Police in the Ren Nefi Jamaica Premier League. And the details will be after the break.
The news cycle doesn't end on Friday. It needs perspective. That's why every Sunday at midday, Nationwide 90 FM presents The Week That Was. A clear, informed review of the top stories that shaped the past week, what really mattered and what lies ahead. No noise, no theatrics, just analysis, context, and clarity. The Week That Was. Sundays at 12 noon with a repeat at 6:30 p.m. Understand the news before the week begins. Only on Nationwide 90 FM, a new revolution in media.
Catch the first news of the day. A comprehensive package of local, international, sports, and business news. The news at 6 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. A minor earthquake was felt in parts of the island early Tuesday morning. Residents of Kingston and St. Andrew reported feeling the tremor around 3:19 a.m. It's estimated to have a magnitude of 5.5. Tuesday's tremor follows another quake on Sunday at about 7 a.m. It had a magnitude of 5.6 and located northeast of Port Antonio, Portland. At the end of January 2026, Jamaica's net international reserves, NIR, climbed to a new record high of $6.7 billion. That's according to the Bank of Jamaica. This is 441 million more than the $6.3 billion recorded at the end of December 2024. According to the central bank, the current reserve level is enough to cover 56 weeks of goods and services imports in the event of an emergency. The NIR represents the value of foreign currency held by a country's central bank minus its short-term foreign liabilities. It's a critical metric for assessing a country's ability to meet international payments, stabilize its currency, and provide a cushion against economic shocks. According to the BOJ, at current levels, Jamaica's NIR is 160% more than the required international standard. The Ministry of Education says it will provide support to the family of a 4-year-old girl who was shot and killed in Land Settlement, Manchester on Sunday. The child has only been identified as Sonoya, otherwise called Summer. It's reported that about 4:20 p.m., Sonoya and her father were in a black Toyota Voxy when it was fired upon by gunmen in an area known as Steel Tank in the community. They were taken to Mandeville Regional Hospital, where the child was pronounced dead on arrival. Her father remains hospitalized in serious condition. Education and Youth Minister Dr. Dana Morse-Dixon says that the 4-year-old's death is beyond comprehension and must provoke urgent, sustained national repudiation. The ministry is urging anyone with information that can assist investigations to cooperate with the police. It says the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA, will also be reaching out to the affected family to provide support. Energy Minister Darrell Vaz is refuting as false online news suggesting Jamaica refused to sell fuel to a Cuban vessel. The report from an overseas publication purported that Jamaica had turned away a Cuban-registered tanker seeking to refill on liquefied petroleum gas, LPG. However, Minister Vaz says that the report does not mention any credible source of information to verify its claims. He says at no time was the government or any private entity involved in the country's oil and gas industry contacted to verify the report. The minister says Petrojam, the country's sole refinery, has never exported LPG. He says checks within the private sector show that they also do not export LPG. Minister Vaz says misinformation during this time might spark unnecessary fear and anxiety. He's reminding the public, especially persons on social media, to seek information from credible news sources. Member of Parliament for Central Manchester, Rhoda Moy Crawford, says there are plans to install more sidewalks near schools in the constituency. The announcement follows Friday's death of a student from Mayday High. The student, 14-year-old Lakia Thompson, was struck as she walked behind a public passenger bus as it reversed.
We have plans in place to erect sidewalks along the Carteret corridor. With the news of this incident and a similar incident we have heard about years ago, I will have to speak with the NWA to see the possibility. But in the meantime, we want to encourage students to desist from making the walk there. There are areas that we expect the students to stand to wait for transportation.
MP Crawford, who also serves as the State Minister of Education, says guidance counseling teams from the ministry were deployed at Mayday High on Monday morning.
I've also had the opportunity since Friday to speak with the victim's father and another family member, and I have given them my personal commitment to offer as much support as is possible. From the ministry standpoint, a team of guidance counselors from the regional office, the team has been here since morning, and they have been leading counseling sessions with 3 different groups.
Rhoda Moy Crawford, MP for Central Manchester, she was speaking at Mayday High on Monday. President of the MSME Alliance, Antoinette Hamilton, says improvements to the procurement processes and the digitization of services to make it easier for small companies to do business are among the changes she expects to hear during the upcoming budget debates. Finance Minister Favour Williams is expected to table the 2026-2027 estimates of expenditure later this week.
Especially as it relates to procurement and digitization of the government services. I believe in particular the Companies Office of Jamaica and other state agencies really need to step up where that is concerned. In terms of procurement, that I think has been moving very slowly in terms of the set aside for MSMEs. And not only that, it is now compounded by the issue of accountability and whether or not the system will be reliable. Bear in mind that most MSMEs, they're not as technically savvy to go through an entire process of submitting a bid, and oftentimes they employ consultants to do these bits for them.
Meanwhile, Ms. Hamilton believes that the Development Bank of Jamaica's Gemini Grant Program was a good move coming out of the March 2025 budget cycle. The Gemini Grant Program was designed to support the growth and development of MSMEs, enabling them to improve their operational efficiency, enhance their market competitiveness, access financing, and ultimately increase their chances of success. But Hamilton says that the program may need revamping to be more effective.
Gemini grant that was designed to assist MSMEs, which is not as effective as we would have hoped, but I think that was a big move. The increase in the GCT threshold was also welcomed, and the increase in compliance with TAJ in terms of allowing persons to just bring their books up to date or their compliance up to date and get the waivers. I think those were positives coming out of the last one. So we're looking to see the government build on that.
Antoinette Hamilton, president of the MSME Alliance. Meanwhile, Minister Williams told the Standing Finance Committee meeting on Tuesday, February 3, that the DBJ was working with the Jamaica Business Development Corporation to review the Gemini Grant Program. She says the review should be completed by March. Heads of Jamaica's diplomatic and consular missions will this week arrive in Kingston to engage in a week-long consultative process with the leadership of the Foreign Ministry. According to Minister of Foreign Affairs, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, meetings of this nature are part of the established process of ensuring those charged with implementing strategic objectives overseas remain aligned with developments at home.
This week of strategic planning, therefore, forms part of the government's deliberate efforts to better position Jamaica's foreign policy for the shifting economic and geopolitical realities that are with us now and that indeed lie ahead. Our missions are Jamaica's bridges to the world, and by bringing them together, we're strengthening our ability to speak with one voice, to better secure resources for economic growth and development, while ensuring, of course, that Jamaicans at home or abroad can rely on well-coordinated and responsive foreign service.
Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith. She says the meeting is critical in advancing Jamaica's ambitions while ensuring the country is prepared to meet developments in an unpredictable world. Minister Johnson-Smith says this model of coordinated action among all 20 missions has been visible in times of crisis. During the passage of Hurricane Melissa, Jamaica's embassies and high commissions coordinated assistance from more than 30 countries. This resulted in the development of medical teams, field hospitals, search and rescue units, and engineering crews, along with the donation of over 1,000 tons of fertilizer for farmers, alongside tens of millions of dollars in humanitarian and medical supplies. The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, is probing the fatal shooting of a man said to be a suspect in a gun attack last Friday. The deceased is identified as 39-year-old Yuko Bliss, otherwise called Puppy. Bliss was shot and killed on Monday by police personnel attached to the Area 4 Fugitive Apprehension Team during an operation. He's allegedly one of the men involved in a gun attack on the police and others at Chisholm Avenue in St. Andrew. During that incident, it's reported that 3 men, including a policeman, were shot on Friday evening. They were rushed to hospital for treatment. It's reported that the policeman was shot in both legs. On Monday, the apprehension team was conducting a snap operation on Amara Road when Bliss reportedly pointed a firearm at them. The police reportedly opened fire, killing Bliss. A Glock pistol with 10 rounds of ammunition was seized. INDECOM says that 33 people have been killed by members of the security forces up to February 9 this year. Close to 50 cases of sexual harassment have been reported to the tribunal established under the Sexual Harassment Act of 2021. Principal Director of the Bureau of Gender Affairs, Sharon Coburn Robinson, made the announcement while speaking during a presentation to the Caucus of Women Parliamentarians at Gordon House on Thursday.
Of the cases that we've had so far, Most of them have come from within the public sector, and some are from the private sector. And the information I saw was that about 60-something%, over 60% of the cases that came have been dealt with, and some are still being addressed at this point. We have our tribunal meeting as often as possible, and those cases would, of course, get priority based on how it is that the information is presented. The idea is that all of the cases are going to be treated with the utmost priority because there is a zero-tolerance approach to any form of harassment that is done to any person.
According to Coburn Robinson, cases from some organizations are dealt with at the human resource level. This, as the law mandates that all resolutions are explored at that level before being brought to the tribunal.
The legislation speaks to ensuring that the HR, once the case has come forward, a complaint has been made, then the HR practitioner, whoever it is that has the focal point responsibilities, has that responsibility to inform the person who has committed the offense or to whom the case has been brought or the complaint has been registered, to inform that person within 48 hours, and then to ensure that the persons who are a part of that, whether it is just one person who has been aggrieved or it is other persons who have been aggrieved, to call them together to have a hearing or to have a conversation, a discussion, and where possible to have some resolution done at that level.
Sharon Coburn Robinson, a principal director of the Bureau of Gender Affairs. The Sexual Harassment Tribunal consists of 14 members. The panel was sworn into service in July 2025. Chief Corporate Communications Officer at Tax Administration Jamaica THA, Maris Horton, says the companies that are found guilty of falsely declaring their income tax filings must still pay the taxes they owe. She was reacting to news that 11 companies filed no income tax returns within a 3-year period while actively conducting business.
So the fines has nothing to do with the income tax amount or the quantum of the income at all. What the fines do is that you're required to file a correct return. So the law says that you can be fined up to $2 million for the breach. So that is within the purview of the court. Look at the instance of the breach, and the breach really is that they falsely reported, they falsely declared what their income was, is what the fine is on. But separate and aside from what happens within the court, they still have the obligation or the duty to pay the correct taxes due.
According to THA, the companies imported and sold hundreds of motor vehicles between 2020 and 2023. But during the period, the dealers did not report the correct income tax returns. The THA took action and the companies were hauled before the courts. They pleaded guilty to the charges and were fined more than $12 million. Following court proceedings, the companies filed 32 amended income tax returns for the 3 years, declaring gross income of just over $4 billion. Horton is urging taxpayers to abide by the law.
And this one was so glaring that we had to take the necessary steps. We had to also use it as an opportunity just to remind persons of what their obligations are. And we're using this opportunity and emphasizing again that we're coming up to the filing period. So we're just encouraging persons and reminding them that any deliberate failure to declare the correct income, profits, or gains with an intent to defraud the revenue is a serious offense under the Income Tax Act.
Maris Horton, Chief Corporate Communications Officer at THA. She was speaking on Nationwide at 5 on Monday. And that's it for the local segment of the news. Up next, regional and international.
Where music is played, copyright owners must be paid. This time signal is brought to you by Jamaica Music Society. The time by Jams is
6:18.
Are you ready to turn your sales and marketing skills into high earnings? Nationwide 90 FM is searching for business development executives to help us grow our business and build lasting client relationships. If you have experience across all stages of the sales cycle and possess strong communication, negotiation, and time management skills with a proven sales track record, this opportunity is perfect for you. Join our team and work with the top corporate brands, media agencies, and of course, our on-air personalities. Enjoy networking opportunities, professional growth, and competitive commissions. Ready to take the next step? Send your resume to hr@nationwidenewsnetwork.com today.
In regional and international news this morning, regional news, Cuba has warned international airlines that jet fuel will no longer be available on the island beginning today, Tuesday, February 10, 2026. It's the latest sign of fast worsening conditions as the United States moves to cut off the communist-run nation's oil supply. According to Reuters, a statement published on Sunday by the Cuban government says the shortfall is set to last until March 11. That statement came just 2 days after top officials said air travel would not be impacted by a fuel rationing plan announced last Friday. Cuba has historically relied on Venezuela to provide much of its jet fuel, but the Caribbean island nation has not received any crude or refined products from its top ally since mid-December, when the U.S. moved to block the South American nation's exports. U.S. President Donald Trump has since vowed Cuba would receive no more oil from Venezuela and has threatened to slap tariffs on any nation sending fuel to Cuba, effectively cutting off the island's supply of aviation gas. Such shortfalls are not new to Cuba, and many airlines already have plans in place to deal with them. A similar crisis in 2025, as well as others recently, have prompted many carriers to refuel in nearby third countries, including Panama, the Bahamas, the Dominican Republic, and the United States. International, the UK and US have sunk to new lows in a global index of corruption amid a worrying trend of democratic institutions being eroded by political donations, cash for access, and state targeting of campaigners and journalists. Experts and business people rated 182 countries based on their perception of corruption levels in the public sector to compile a league table. That table was bookended by Denmark at the top, with the lowest levels of corruption, and South Sudan at the bottom. The Corruption Perceptions Index, organized by the campaign group Transparency International, identifies an overall global deterioration as 31 countries improved their scores while 50 declined. In particular, the report identified backsliding in established democracies, warning that events during Donald Trump's presidency and the revelations contained in the Epstein files could fuel further deterioration. And that's it for regional and international. Up next, sports.
I didn't hear you leave. I wonder how am I still here?
This show is your escape, your vibe, your reset.
But I will go down with this shame.
If Urban Paradise ever brings you peace, joy, or a little relief, come closer.
What you won't do.
Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club today on Patreon.
You tried everything, but you don't give up.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825 to 8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
TransJam Highways is having a 50% Valentine's Day discount on T-Tac packages. Get yours from the teller in the toll booth for only $1,250, including a $500 toll credit from February 9 to 2026. Got you quicker with a T-Tac every time on TransJam Highways.
Time now for your morning sports. Champions Cavalier crushed Spanish Town Police 5-0 on Monday in their Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League clash at Stadium East to move into 6th place in the standings. Jerome McCleary, Giovanni Lang, Christopher Ainsworth, Chad James and DeMarley Williams got the goals as Cavalier moved to 29 points while Spanish Town Police remain rooted at the foot of the standings. Football associations, mostly in Western Jamaica, are set to receive special donations from FIFA to assist with the damage or setback caused by the passage of Hurricane Melissa. The Jamaica Football Federation, JFF, will start distributing the cash packages on Thursday when they visit St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland. The JFF will go to St. James and Hanover on Friday, followed by Trelawney, Manchester and St. Anne. Meanwhile, a high-ranking team from FIFA is set to arrive in Jamaica on Tuesday for a 4-day visit to examine facilities connected to Jamaica's bid to host matches at the 2031 Women's World Cup. The team will visit the National Stadium and Sabina Park, as well as hotels in the corporate area. Jamaica is part of a 3-country bid, along with the United States and Mexico, to host the 2031 tournament. The bid by CONCACAF is the only one received by FIFA, and it will be officially accepted at its Congress on April 1. Now, Jamaican sprinter Shanice Walker has identified the 2026 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow as one of her major goals for the season, as she continues to build momentum during her final year at Florida State University. Walker signaled her growing form earlier this month when she clocked a personal best 7.09 seconds in the semifinals of the 60 meters at the Razorback Invitational in Arkansas. The performance not only marked a career milestone, but also shattered both the Florida State and Atlantic Coast Conference women's 60-meter records. Speaking on the Mr. Analyst podcast, Walker says once she's fully healthy, she is determined to secure a place on Jamaica's team for the Glasgow Games.
I want to go for it all this season because, it's my senior year in college. But as long as I'm healthy, I think I will be looking towards making that team.
Walker acknowledged that earning a spot on Jamaica's team will be no easy task.
The fans don't have to worry about what will become or happen to Jamaica sprinting because we're very talented. Like, as you said, the twins, Brianna, myself, and I, we're all talented. So it's like you have talent all across the board. And I feel like Jamaica sprinting is in good hands because we all have good coaches and we're all dedicated athletes. So it's a good feeling to know that I am among those and I'm ready to put on for my country, of course.
Shanice Walker wrapping up your morning sports.
You've stood with us through every headline and every difficult moment. The Family Club is how we keep this going strong. Together, join the nationwide 90 FM Family Club now on Patreon.
In business this morning, Target will cut roughly 500 jobs across its regional offices and distribution sites in the United States, a move executives have said would allow the struggling retailer to invest in its stores and win back customers. Target executives announced the reductions on Monday in an internal email to employees. The note said the cuts, along with a reorganization of geographic store districts, will help the firm boost store staffing, adding labor and hours where needed most. The move is among the first strategic decisions made by new chief executive Michael Fidlek, who was named to lead last year as the firm wrestled to reverse more than 4 years of stagnant sales. The job cuts and restructuring added to the workforce reductions that started last October when the firm announced its first major downsizing in a decade. In that previous round of cuts, Target shed 1,800 corporate jobs, roughly 8% of its global corporate workforce. Also in business this morning, Bangladesh has secured exemptions for some clothes and textiles that are made with U.S.-produced materials as part of a new agreement announced on Monday. As a part of the deal, Washington will also cut its tariffs on Bangladesh from 20% to 19% in exchange for Dhaka to open its markets to a wider range of American goods. The apparel industry forms the backbone of Bangladesh, which is the world's second largest exporter of clothes after China. The South Asian country has been in long-drawn talks with the White House after President Donald Trump imposed sweeping tariffs on global trading partners in April last year. The White House said in a joint statement between the sides that the agreement will strengthen the country's economic ties and offer both unprecedented access to each market. It said the U.S. will lower its tariff rate on Bangladesh and will also identify certain clothing and textile goods from the country to enter the U.S. free of tariffs. The goods include those produced with American cotton and man-made textiles. The volume of these will be determined by how much textiles the U.S. exports to Bangladesh. The clothing sector accounts for more than 80% of Bangladesh's total export revenue and employs around 4 million workers. In foreign exchange trading this morning, the Jamaican dollar has gained 20 cents and will open trading against the benchmark U.S. dollar, selling for an average $156.94. Against the Canadian, the Jamaican has lost 5 cents and will open selling for an average $115.36. And finally, the Jamaican has lost $2.10 and will begin trading for an average $215 against the British pound. That's it for business this morning.
Register your property or update an existing title through the Land Administration and Management Division. The time by the National Land Agency is
6:31.
You've stood with us through every headline and every difficult moment. The Family Club is how we keep this going strong. Together, join the nationwide 90 FM Family Club now on Patreon.
Not every youth in the ghetto takes up a gun and becomes a criminal. Why should the good ones who don't do it, who are the majority, 95% of them, suffer for the 5% that do? Until our society stands up in unison and say no more of this, we will be just. We will provide you with the opportunities that you are properly integrated into society, but there will be firm consequences for you if you decide to pursue a life of crime and deprive everybody else of their safety.
The preceding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Super Center, everything for your home and more.
Bring back the fun of shopping. Discover the best finds in every aisle of amazing items. For your kitchen, your living room, your bedroom, or any room, Azan Supercenter has that perfect touch to elevate your space to the next level. Our team is ready to help you find what you are looking for you or someone else. So stop by our Crossroads store today and rediscover the fun of shopping.
Ascent Super Center, it's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle.
You come from jungle, could have come from firehouse, or you come from Tower Hill. One blood, one blood, one blood. You could have come from Libya, or you come from America. Could have come from Europe, or you come from Africa. One blood, one blood, one blood. You could have be an Irishman or an Englishman. Could have be a Mexican or a whether Indian. One blood, one blood. One blood. Hey mate, boy, I want you to get me straight. Cooperate, hey mate, I want you to get me straight. Hey come, do you believe in love? Love, hey blow, this is no joke. You could have be a soldier man or a weather policeman or a weather civilian. Said they will we are one blood, one blood, one blood. You could have come from London or you come from Birmingham. Could have come from Brooklyn or you come from Boston. One blood, big man, one blood, one blood. Yes, you got to understand the happiness all in us. So many times we have been victimized, and so many times they try to criticize my scandal and plunder our name, trying to bring another life to shame. But we now play the game. Together we suck the cup once more, 'cause we are one big family, living in a harmony. Yes, we are one big family, living in a this country. George Bang and Louis, Josué Admiral Bailey, Peter Metro and Michael P, Junior Reed, flashing its and speed. We are one big family, living in a this country. Yes, we are one big family. That's the way it's gonna be. Hooray, 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 oh. Hooray, 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 oh. The people shout, joy down. Ooh, level the vibe, we are level the vibe. Sweetness tonight. Oh yes, level the vibe, we are level the vibe. Sweetness tonight. If I mash up on your car, don't you brag and go on. It's only reggae music, keep me skanking on my feet. Skip and skank to the rebound, back, badder. Youth man, sorry if I'm wrong. Oh, level the vibe, we are level the vibe. Sweetness tonight. Oh yes, level the vibe, come up, level the vibe. Every time down.
A very good morning to you. Good morning to you, Juliet Sanchez. Those emojis in the chat, are those appropriate? A very good morning to you. Good morning to all our YouTubers joining us on our YouTube channel, Nationwide 90 FM Live 2. Hello to our friends out there in Radio Land joining us on the dial 90.3.5, 7.9. And hello, good morning to our friends over there joining us on our app or from the website. Happy Tuesday to you. I'm Tawna Thomas.
Good morning, Tawna. My name is George.
Hello to you, George.
Hello. What up? What up?
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know what's up?
I'm
You're shaking up. Listeners, this morning I called Tawna when I got in and I said, good morning, Tawna. And she said, good morning. So I said, you sound so. She said she wake up too early. So she said the earthquake woke her up early and she not go back to sleep since then.
Gosh. No, man.
Jesus.
Yeah, and this is the second time now, you know. It's the second time early morning quake has me rattled. Yeah, and I've been seeing some messages coming in, including one from our correspondent, George Winston. Winston Malcolm
in
Portland said, felt it heavily in the coastline area of Portland after 3 a.m. this morning. It woke me up. I felt the bed moving like a train coach and the house was shaking. Yeah, and I do see members of the international meteorological teams speaking about it, posting YouTube videos speaking to the earthquake this morning as well. But yeah, saw lots of my friends too in my contacts at that hour. Not sure if it woke them up or they were already awake. Yeah, posting. You know how people do on their WhatsApps, George?
Yes.
And other social media platforms as they feel the tremors. That's them on social media. Did you feel it? Earthquake?
Yes.
I saw our HR manager too, Simone, in our WhatsApp group this morning. She was the first to pop into the WhatsApp in relation to the quake, and she said earthquake with some emojis, some eye emojis, and then she said our duppy jump in my bed.
what a heavy duppy.
She said earthquake or a duppy jump in my bed.
Fat duppy that.
Yeah, and then 321 Nora says definitely earthquake, and then I said yup, that's a quake.
Yep.
So it was definitely an earthquake. But I don't know if is it a mind over matter thing for me, or have we been feeling way more tremors than ordinary since the start of the year?
You mean, I think since the start of 2024, we've been having, you remember when Professor Simon, what's his name again?
Is it Mitchell?
Yes. Said that, listen, there are hundreds of tremors. Most of them you just don't feel. And then they are getting more pronounced and more pronounced.
You're feeling them.
Yeah. So it looks like something big is on the card, Donna.
Oh dear. And James Torres, I feel the same as you. Too frequent now. What is happening? James Torres is asking. And Lorna says, I was up but didn't feel it. So if you felt it, let us know, because definitely for persons in Kingston and St. Andrew, we felt it. Of course, our correspondent out there in Portland felt it as well. I did see a friend of mine post who is in St. Elizabeth saying earthquake as well. So the folks from St. Elizabeth, did you feel the earthquake too? Do let us know. But yeah, it's unsettling for me, to be honest, George, because the nature of earthquakes, you just never know when. And you know, on my mind, it just reminds us that you need to start checking your homes, your business establishments. Is there, for example, a loose screw on a shelf that you might need to, tighten up? What's the integrity of your home? Is anything on your structure compromised? You need to do those sort of checks as well. And it's important. I know Earthquake Awareness Month was January, but every month of the year we should be heightened in terms of an earthquake. And us here at Nationwide, we're in a new building. We as staffers need to familiarize ourselves with what is the earthquake drill here. So I said to, I guess, our plant manager, Jermaine King, out there.
Our facilities manager, yes.
Our facilities manager, when is the Nationwide earthquake drill? Yeah, we need to know.
Yeah, but the last time we had an earthquake drill at Bradley.
That was at Bradley?
And I ran out and did the right thing. When all laughed at me, I said, oh, look at George running out. I'm saying, may I train for when the right time come.
Yes.
And when Cliff did the right thing, him turn meme. Yeah, him turn meme. Can I help you with something, Tana?
But you did the right thing with Saeed as well.
Yeah, can I help you with something?
Because you were on air one time too, when there was our earthquake.
Can I help you with something?
When there was our earthquake, yes.
Just to tell you, to support what you were saying.
Yes.
January 8, 2026 at 10:31 p.m., magnitude 3.1. January 15, 2026 at 10:27 p.m., magnitude 2.5. January 26, 2026 at 10:01 a.m., magnitude 3.2. January 28, 2026 at 3:47 a.m., magnitude 3.6. January 30, 2026 at 5:41 p.m., magnitude 3.7. And February 8, 2026 at 7 a.m., magnitude 5.6. And then last night, and then this morning again.
This morning, 3:18.
3:18. See?
And the preliminaries, we're hearing 5.5. So we're trying to get somebody from the earthquake unit at the University of the West Indies to come on and talk to us about what it really measured. And just in general, what is happening with the Earth's movement in recent times? Are we feeling so many earthquakes? and what are we in for? But yeah, I see, is this Jack Brown saying good morning, felt it in Portmore. So here's somebody from Portmore who said, felt the earthquake in Portmore. Fabian Smith says, Sir George, I felt it around 3:18 this morning. And Fabian, you are in East Kingston. So now we have Portland, Portmore, so that's St. Catherine, Kingston, and St. Andrew. And as I was indicating, somebody from St. Elizabeth, I saw a posting this morning saying felt. And see, my super editor is on vacation, but she's listening. And she says, and the evacuation routes and assembly areas, Tana, things to make ourselves familiar with for an earthquake. So, facilities manager, we need an earthquake drill for this building. This week, we need to know what to do. But in general, folks out there, you need to familiarize yourself with your workplace, whether it be your school, you're in a tower like we are, or at your home. What is the arrangement if an earthquake happens? What do you do? For example, me this morning, when it jolted me out of my sleep, and I was trying to collect myself. What next to do? Go under the bed. I mean, that has always been the plan for me. If I'm at home, it's early morning, jolting, I'm awoken by the tremor, go under the bed. Yeah, but I was just swaying.
Yeah, people who are parents, the first thing is to secure the children, even though that's not what they tell you should do. You should secure yourself.
Yeah.
But it's hard to.
Listen, there's so much to bother the mind when it comes to earthquake, because you have a lot of people who are considered quite vulnerable, George. You have persons who they're immobile, they can't move around. What happens in an earthquake with persons like that? Persons who are blind, you know, what do they do? So different things to think about in your household or your workplace, depending on the work crew that you have. If you have somebody who's a person with disability at your facility, your school, your home, what are the special arrangements for those people in case there is an earthquake? Joan Thompson, Spencer says, felt it in St. Thomas. So here's another, St. Thomas. Ursuline Boyne says, Tana, that's if your bed is high enough. Yeah, man, it's high enough. James Torres says, in more than one floor, you feel like you are floating. Oh, and here's a situation. I don't know if you have people out there, George, like me, who, is it called PTSD? So the situation with the Digicel building and in here is that when certain movements are made in here, there's a shaking, you know, there's vibration. Somebody run down the passageway, you know, and there's this loud bang or whatever. And it jolts me I'm going to be honest, it jolts me sometimes.
You feel like a building will tumble down.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody else has that. You've felt a lot of tremors and that's what it has left you with, but that's the case for me. Ashley Jamaican says, TT and GD, I felt it at 3:18 in Halfway Tree. Yeah, and I see Andy here saying in Havendale as well. And they're asking if you could read the dates again, George, for the felt earthquakes since the start of 2026.
Right. So what I have, courtesy of my friend Sabrina. Good morning, Sabrina. Thank you very much for being quick on the draw. She shared me that January 8 this year. So these are all this year dates. January 8, 10:31 p.m., magnitude 3.1. January 15 at 10:27 p.m., magnitude 2.5. January 26 at 10:01 a.m., magnitude 3.2. January 28 at 3:47 a.m., magnitude 3.6. January 30 at 5:41 p.m., magnitude 3.7. February 8 at 7 a.m., magnitude 5.6. And this morning was, what were we saying, 5?
About 5.5.
Yeah.
That's the prelim. So we wait to get confirmation from the earthquake unit at UA.
Between January 8 and this morning, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. Yeah.
And somebody just came in the chat and said in St. Anne as well. Oren, in St. Anne, we have heavy winds and rain and felt the quake. 3:18 was quite scary. Yeah. So just a reminder this morning, another felt earthquake, 3:18, 3:19. this morning. Another reminder to...
You got Clarendon and Spalding?
There was Clarendon
Ryan
too?
McCullough says it was felt in Clarendon as well, Spalding area.
So why does it seem as if the whole country
Bonita Browning
felt this earthquake?
Bonita Browning says felt in Maryland, St. Andrew at 3:18 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah, see O'Neill, Clarendon as well.
Yeah.
And Mark says felt in Portmore. Yeah.
Yep.
We're going to try to get some more information in our discussion segment at 7:20 in relation to what's happening with these earthquakes of late.
Linton Hunter says felt in Western St. Mary, 3 Hills at 3:19 a.m.
That sounds like the entire island now, man.
Yeah, man. the island shook this morning.
Yeah.
So Carleen Smith says 11 days is the longest we have gone without a quake since January. If you look at the numbers that I just gave.
Portland says hurricanes, or are you talking about earthquake? Earthquakes at night can be nerve-wracking. Yes, man.
Katie and
For
Wisdom
sure.
says felt in Spanish Town. So,
In case of an earthquake and the place that's shaking. Drop, cover, and hold on. Drop, cover, and hold on. In case of an earthquake.
There's a few tips that can keep you from harm. In case of an earthquake, you gotta stay calm. Move away from doors, windows, and things that can fall. Try not to use steps or elevators at all.
Drop, protect your head on your face. Don't go running all over the place. Cover, under a bed or a table. Against the wall that's firm and stable.
Hold on.
You must hold on, don't panic, stay calm.
Don't move until the shaking stops. Drop, cover, and hold on.
Drop, cover, and hold on. In case of an earthquake.
Drop, cover, and hold on.
Learn how to protect yourself during an earthquake. Log on to weready.org. That's weready.org for more information.
Public passenger vehicle operators and commercial carriers. The 2026-2027 licensing period begins February 1. Apply, check out, pay at www.ta.org.jm. No rush, no fuss. Go digital with us. The time by the Transport Authority is
6:50.
JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union offers financial solutions for every stage in your life: savings, auto loans, mortgages, and more. The Temperature by JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union, your financial partner for life, is
23 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 24 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 17 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Turn up the heat with Hot Listing, Nationwide 90 FM's new on-air and online classifieds feature. If you have a car for sale, room for rent, or yard sale come up. If you look at work or need stuff. If you provide a service, make it a Hot Listing, Nationwide 90 FM's new on-air and online classified segment. Your listing plays again and again. From morning till evening. You sing it, we play it. You say it once, Jamaica hears it all day, every hour. Contact our sales team now at 876-630-1210 or sales at nationwidenewsnetwork.com. Hot Listings on Nationwide 90 FM, a new revolution in media.
You've stood with us through every headline and every difficult moment. The Family Club is how we keep this going strong. Together, join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club now on Patreon.
Time of Street Smarts 1 with Ludlow McLean. Good morning, Ludlow.
Morning, George and Turner, everyone there in the studios, all listeners, traveling passengers, everyone tuned in. Morning. Well, it's nice and cool. I didn't feel that earthquake at all. I slept so sound. Anyway, as a matter of fact, most of them I don't see them at all. I don't know. But the situation, though, I was wondering, though, George, what about helmets? Is it important to wear your helmet? Have your helmet so fast?
You mean in an earthquake?
Yeah.
Ludlow, an earthquake shake, you not remember that.
Actually, you're right. Anyway, just to tell you that the roadways are busy at this time of the morning, depending on where you are. If you are in the Half a Tree area, just remember it's quite active in the vicinity of the transport center. Lots of traffic, lots of public transportation in that area. Rope Road, Agley Park Road coming up, South Oden Avenue, Half a Tree going down. And if you're in the Richmond Park area, try and leave now. It's getting busy. Richmond Park, meaning Montgomery Avenue, and going through Richmond Park Avenue, going across the Linders Road. That was also active, pretty active, and going on to Beechwood Avenue, a number of vehicles heading there to get onto Half a Tree Road. However, if you go through the Kencut area, Kew Road, and those Parry Road, and those areas that are in the Kencut area, it's quite okay for the time being. If you're on Cargill Avenue, making it out on the Half a Tree, that is also busy. Skibo Avenue, that road that take you across to the Holy Child area, that is okay, no problems in that area. But just remember that as you get closer to Crossroads, you're going to find it also quite active indeed. Oxford Road for the time being, good vehicular movement in both directions. But remember, that will be as the morning progresses. So remember now, Half a Tree is carrying a lot of traffic heading southbound to get into Crossroads. Just please make note of that. All right, it's our first report for the morning. And over to you, George.
Thank you, Ludlow. Ludlow there with Street Smarts 1. Up next, front page.
Is it?
Word of the day. Oh, my God.
Your word of the day is spelled EUDEMONIC, spelled EUDEMONIC.
Eudaimonic. Eudaimonic. Eudaimonic.
Eudaimonic is your word of the day. Eudaimonic, it's an adjective, so a descriptive word meaning pertaining or conducive to happiness. Eudaimonic, your word of the day. An explanation: a eudaimonic lifestyle focuses on deeper fulfillment rather than fleeting pleasure. A sentence provided by dictionary.com for eudaimonic. The artist was guided by eudaimonic ideals, believing the creative or that creative fulfillment mattered more than wealth. Eudaimonic, your word of the day, pertaining or conducive to happiness.
Here, Donovan Phillips now. Anyone feel the earthquake this morning? You think Donovan?
Up next are features at the top of the hour, the news.
Guava is an impressive nutritional powerhouse packed with antioxidants, vitamin C, potassium, and fiber. This incredible combination of nutrients delivers a wide range of health benefits. On Food for Thought today, we're slicing into one of nature's overachievers, guava, and uncovering why it deserves a place in your diet. Wrapped in a neat, green, or yellow skin, guava contains juicy vitamin pulp and crunchy edible seeds. But the benefits don't stop there. Even its leaves boast powerful medicinal properties that can enhance your well-being. Just one guava provides 250% of your daily vitamin C needs. That's like eating an orange on steroids. Plus, it's loaded with vitamin A, potassium, iron, calcium, and fiber. Let's break down its top health benefits. Guava's antioxidants and fiber help regulate blood sugar. Guava leaf tea, in particular, has been shown to reduce post-meal sugar spikes by over 10%. For those managing diabetes, guava is a must. Looking after your heart, guavas help lower bad cholesterol, regulate blood pressure, and provide potassium and fiber for optimal heart function. Plus, their antioxidants protect against free radical damage. Ladies, take note. Guava leaf extract has been found to significantly reduce menstrual cramps thanks to its powerful anti-inflammatory properties. A natural remedy, no pharmacy trip required. One guava delivers 12% of your daily fiber needs, making it a natural digestive aid that keeps things moving. The bonus? Guava leaf extract fights bad gut bacteria, helps with diarrhea, and improves overall digestion. At just 37 calories per fruit, guavas make for the perfect guilt-free snack. Their high fiber content helps curb cravings and keeps you full longer, making them a great addition to any weight loss plan. Early research suggests guava leaf extract may inhibit the growth of cancer cells. Some studies even indicate guava leaf oil could be 4 times more potent than certain cancer drugs. While research is ongoing, guava's rich antioxidant content is promising. With twice the daily recommended intake of vitamin C, guavas are a powerhouse for your immune system. They help stimulate white blood cell production, keeping infections at bay. Guavas aren't just great for your health, they work wonders for your skin too. Their antioxidants help combat signs of aging, while guava leaf extracts fight acne-causing bacteria. The result? A natural glow inside and out. Guava, more than just a fruit. Guavas aren't just a delicious snack, they're a lifestyle upgrade. From balancing blood sugar and supporting heart health, to improving digestion and enhancing your skin, this tropical superfruit is as functional as it is flavorful. That's it for Food for Thought. Until next time.
Fearless and fair. Nationwide 90 FM.
The person representing your company by answering the telephone must be consistent as your company's brand manager. Be sure your tone is pleasant, friendly, cordial, and sincere. This is Lifestyle Pages on telephone etiquette. Too much friendliness does not convey that your company is serious about doing business, and no one wants to do business with a Butu or a Sketel. Jones speaking. When making a call, say, "This is Miss Jones from Brown and Company. May I speak with Mr. Smith?" Or, "This is Mr. Brown's office. May I speak with Mr. Smith?" I'm Valerie, and those were Lifestyle Pages.
Nationwide 90 FM, continuing the tradition of fair, fearless, and factual reporting. You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is...
News time, 7 o'clock.
From the ground up, let's rebuild stronger, safer, better than before. National Supply, powering Jamaica's comeback. The temperature by National Supply is
23 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 24 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 17 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
The most credible news in the morning. The news at 7 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Coming up in the news at 7 today, Tuesday, February 10, 2026, early morning earthquake rattles sections of the island. Jamaica's NIR continues to soar, hitting a new record high in January, and the Education Ministry says it's supporting the family of 4-year-old killed by gunmen in Manchester on Sunday. In international news, the UK and US tumble in global corruption index.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. A minor earthquake was felt in parts of the island early on Tuesday. Residents of Kingston and St. Andrew reported feeling the tremor around 3:19 a.m. The quake was also felt in sections of Portland, St. Anne, St. Mary, St. Catherine, Manchester, and St. James. It's estimated to have had a magnitude of 5.6. Tuesday's tremor follows another quake on Sunday at about 7 a.m. That one had a magnitude of 5.6 with an epicenter located northeast of Port Antonio in Portland. There have been at least 6 other tremors felt between January 8 and February 8. At the end of January 2026, Jamaica's net international reserves, NIR, climbed to a new record high of $6.7 billion. That's according to the Bank of Jamaica. This is $441 million more than the $6.3 billion recorded at the end of December 2024. According to the central bank, the current reserve level is enough to cover 56 weeks of goods and services imports in the event of an emergency. The NIR represents the value of foreign currency held by a country's central bank minus
minus its short-term foreign liabilities. It's a critical metric for assessing a country's ability to meet international payments, stabilize its currency, and provide a cushion against economic shocks. According to the BOJ, at current levels, Jamaica's NIR is 160% more than the required international standard. The Ministry of Education says it will provide support to the family of a 4-year-old girl who was shot and killed in Land Settlement, Manchester on Sunday. The child has only been identified as Sonoya, otherwise called Summer. It's reported that about 4:20 p.m., Sonoya and her father were in a black Toyota Voxy motor car when it was fired on by a gunman in an area known as Steel Tank in the community. They were taken to Mandeville Regional Hospital, where the child was pronounced dead on arrival. Her father remains hospitalized in serious condition. Education and Youth Minister Dr. Dana Morris Dixon says the 4-year-old's death is beyond comprehension and must provoke urgent, sustained national repudiation. The ministry is urging anyone with information that can assist the investigations to cooperate with the police. It says the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA, will also be reaching out to the affected family to provide support. Energy Minister Daryl Vaz is refuting as false online news reports suggesting Jamaica refused to sell fuel to a Cuban vessel. The report from an overseas publication purports that Jamaica had turned away a Cuba-registered tanker seeking to refill on liquefied petroleum gas, LPG. Minister Vaz says the report does not mention any credible source of information to verify its claims. He says at no time was the government or any private entity involved in the country's oil and gas industry contacted to verify the report. The minister says Petrojam, the country's sole refinery, has never exported LPG. He says checks with the private sector show that they also do not export LPG. Minister Vaz says misinformation during this time might spark unnecessary fear and anxiety. He's reminding the public, especially persons on social media, to seek information from credible news sources. Member of Parliament for Central Manchester, Rhoda Moy Crawford, says there are plans to install more sidewalks near schools in her constituency. The announcement follows Friday's death of a student from Mayday High. The student, 14-year-old Lakia Thompson, was struck as she walked behind a public passenger bus as it reversed.
We have plans in place to erect sidewalks along the Carteret corridor. With the news of this incident and a similar incident we have heard about years ago, I will have to speak with the NWA to see the possibility. But in the meantime, we want to encourage students to desist from making the walk there. There are areas that we expect the students to stand to wait for transportation.
MP Crawford, who also serves as the State Minister of Education, says guidance counseling teams from the ministry were deployed at Mayday High on Monday morning.
I've also had the opportunity since Friday to speak with the victim's father and another family member, and I have given them my personal commitment to offer as much support as is possible. From the ministry standpoint, the team of guidance counselors from the regional office, the team has been here since morning, and they have been leading counseling sessions with 3 different groups.
Rhoda Moy Crawford, MP for Central Manchester, she was speaking at Mayday High on Monday. President of the MSME Alliance, Antoinette Hamilton, says improvements to the procurement processes and the digitization of services to make it easier for small companies to do business are among the changes she expects to hear during the upcoming budget debates. Finance Minister Favour Williams is expected to table the 2026-27 estimates of expenditure later this week.
Especially as it relates to procurement and digitization of the government services. I believe in particular the Companies Office of Jamaica and other lead agencies really need to step up where that is concerned in terms of procurement. That, I think, has been moving very slowly in terms of the set aside for MSMEs. And not only that, it is now compounded by the issue of accountability and whether or not the system will be reliable. Bear in mind that most MSMEs, they're not as technically savvy to go through an entire process of submitting a bid, and oftentimes they employ consultants to do these bids for them.
Meanwhile, Ms. Hamilton believes the Development Bank of Jamaica's Gemini Grant Program was a good move coming out of the March 2025 budget cycle. The Gemini Grant Program was designed to support the growth and the development of MSME, enabling them to improve their operational efficiency, enhance market competitiveness, access finance, and ultimately increase their chances of success. Hamilton says the program, though, may need revamping to be more effective.
Gemini grant that was designed to assist MSMEs, which is not as effective as we would have hoped, but I think that was a big move. The increase in the GCT threshold was also welcomed, and the increase in compliance with TAJ in terms of allowing persons to just bring their books up to date or their compliance up to date and get the waivers. I think those were positives coming out of the last one. So we're looking to see the government build on that.
Antoinette Hamilton, president of the MSME Alliance. Meanwhile, the finance minister told the Standing Finance Committee meeting on Tuesday, February 3, that DBJ was working with the Jamaica Business Development Corporation to review the Gemini Grant Program. She says that review should be completed by March. Heads of Jamaica's diplomatic and consular missions will this week arrive in Kingston to engage in a week-long consultative process with the leadership of the Foreign Ministry. According to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, meetings of this nature are part of the established process of ensuring those charged with implementing strategic objectives overseas remain aligned with developments at home.
This week of strategic planning, therefore, forms part of the government's deliberate efforts to better position Jamaica's foreign policy for the shifting economic and geopolitical realities that are with us now and that indeed lie ahead. Our missions are Jamaica's bridges to the world, and by bringing them together, we're strengthening our ability to speak with one voice, to better secure resources for economic growth and development, while ensuring, of course, that Jamaicans at home or abroad can rely on well-coordinated and responsive foreign service.
Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, she says the meeting is critical in advancing Jamaica's ambitions while ensuring the country is prepared to meet developments in an unpredictable world. She says this model of coordinated action among all 20 missions has been visible in times of crisis. During the passage of Hurricane Melissa, Jamaica's embassies and high commissions coordinated assistance from more than 30 countries. This resulted in the deployment of medical teams, field hospitals, search and rescue units, and engineering crews, along with the donation of over 1,000 tons of fertilizer for farmers, alongside tens of millions of dollars in humanitarian and medical supplies. The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, is probing the fatal shooting of a man said to be a suspect in a gun attack last Friday. The deceased is 39-year-old Yukal Bliss, otherwise called Puppy. Bliss was shot and killed on Monday by police personnel attached to the Area 4 Fugitive Apprehension Team during an operation. He's allegedly one of the men involved in a gun attack on the police and others at Chisholm Avenue in St. Andrew, or on Chisholm Avenue in St. Andrew. During that incident, it's reported that 3 men, including a policeman, were shot on Friday evening. They were rushed to hospital for treatment. The policeman was reportedly shot in both legs. On Monday, the apprehension team was conducting a snap operation on O'Mara Road when Bliss reportedly pointed a firearm at them. The police reportedly opened fire, killing Bliss. A Glock pistol with 10 rounds of ammunition was seized. INDECOM says 33 people have been killed by members of the security forces up to February 9 this year. Close to 50 cases of sexual harassment have been reported to the tribunal established under the Sexual Harassment Act of 2021. Principal Director of the Bureau of Gender Affairs, Sharon Coburn Robinson, made the announcement while speaking at a presentation to the Caucus of Women Parliamentarians inside Gordon House on Thursday.
Of the cases that we've had so far, most of them have come from within the public sector and some are from the private sector. And the information I saw was that about 60% over 60% of the cases that came have been dealt with, and some are still being addressed at this point. We have our tribunal meeting as often as possible, and those cases would, of course, get priority based on how it is that the information is presented. The idea is that all of the cases are going to be treated with the utmost priority because there is a zero-tolerance approach to any form of harassment that is done to any person.
According to Coburn Robinson, cases from some organizations are dealt with at the human resource level. This as the law mandates that all resolutions are explored at that level before being brought to the tribunal.
The legislation speaks to ensuring that the HR, once the case has come forward, a complaint has been made, then the HR practitioner, whoever it is that has the focal point responsibilities, has that responsibility to inform the person who has committed the offense or to whom the case has been brought or the complaint has been registered, to inform that person within 48 hours, and then to ensure that the persons who are a part of that, whether it is just one person who has been aggrieved or it is other persons who have been aggrieved, to call them together to have a hearing or to have a conversation, a discussion, and where possible to have some resolution done at that level.
Sharon Coburn Robinson, Principal Director of the Bureau of Gender Affairs. The Sexual Harassment Tribunal consists of 14 members. The panel was sworn into service in July 2025, and the police are reporting that at least 4 people were murdered in separate incidents in 3 parts of the island. On Monday, in Clarendon, Lionel Town, Rocky Point to be precise, a mother and her daughter, Norma Scott and Kerry-Ann Spencer, were shot and killed by unknown assailants. The incident reportedly happened about 8:45 p.m. on Monday. That's one incident. So a mother and her daughter shot and killed by unknown assailants in Rocky Point, Clarendon, about 8:45 p.m. on Monday. In another incident, a 59-year-old businessman, Garfield Singh, was shot and killed in Boscobel, St. Mary, at his home by unknown assailants. This happened at 4 a.m. on Monday. So, 59-year-old Garfield Singh, business owner of Boscobel in St. Mary, shot and killed by unknown assailants at his home on Monday morning at 4 a.m. And in Islington, St. Mary, Robbins Bay to be precise, Kemoy Findlay, a 32-year-old man of Stockholm Park in Highgate, was shot and killed by unknown assailants. So the police reporting that gunmen killed 4 people in 3 separate incidents on Monday, including a mother and her daughter in Rocky Point, Clarendon. And there's also a report of a human skull being found in Days Mountain, Rakabessa in St. Mary. The skull was found in a refrigerator, the police are wishing. Yeah, so 4 murders confirmed, 3 parts of the island on Monday, and then the police finding a human skull in a refrigerator in Days Mountain, Rakabessa, St. Mary, also on Monday. Chief Corporate Communications Officer at Tax Administration Jamaica, TAJ Maris Horton, says companies that are found guilty of falsely declaring their income tax filings must still pay the taxes they owe. She was reacting to news that 11 companies filed no income tax returns over a 3-year period while actively conducting business.
So the fine has nothing to do with the income tax amount or the quantum of the income at all. What the fines do is that you're required to file a correct return. So the law says that you can be fined up to $2 million for the breach. So that is within the purview of the court. Look at the instance of the breach, and the breach really is that they falsely reported, they falsely declared what their income was, is what the fine is on. But separate and aside from what happens within the court, they still have the obligation or the duty to pay the correct taxes due.
According to TAJ, the companies imported and sold hundreds of motor vehicles between 2020 and 2023, but over that period, the dealers did not report the correct income tax returns. TAJ took action and the companies were hauled before the courts. They pleaded guilty to the charges and were fined more than $12 million. Following court proceedings, the companies filed 32 amended income tax returns for the 3 years, declaring gross income of just over $4 billion. Horton is urging taxpayers to abide by the law.
And this one was so glaring that we had to take the next necessary steps. We had to also use it as an opportunity just to remind persons of what their obligations are. And we're using this opportunity and emphasizing again that we're coming up to the filing period. So we're just encouraging persons and reminding them that any deliberate failure to declare the correct income, profits, or gains with an intent to defraud the revenue is a serious offense under the Income Tax Act.
That's Maris Horton. She's the head of corporate communications at Tax Administration Jamaica. Overseas news now.
The UK and US have sunk to new lows in a global index of corruption amid a worrying trend of democratic institutions being eroded by political donations, cash for access, and state targeting of campaigners and journalists. Experts and business people rated 182 countries based on their perception of corruption levels in the public sector to compile a league table. That table was bookended by Denmark at the top with the lowest level of corruption and South Sudan at the bottom. The Corruption Perceptions Index, organized by the campaign group Transparency International, identifies an overall global deterioration as 31 countries improved their score while 50 declined. In particular, the report identified backsliding in established democracies, warning that events during Donald Trump's presidency and the revelations contained in the Epstein files could fuel further deterioration. That's the news.
Sign up for the JN Money Card. It's safe, convenient, and free. The time by JN Money is
7:18.
The youth them have a voice here, and it matters. The Family Club helps us to keep giving young people the mic. If you believe in that, join the nationwide 90 FM Family Club today on Patreon.
Hey yo, me is a youth, no in a hurry. Me love me chick.
Unlock winnings, unlock value, unlock postpaid with Digicel. Sign up for your postpaid plan now, win $1 million. When you sign up and unlock postpaid with Digicel, you can win up to $1 million and more. Just sign up or switch to postpaid, upgrade or activate an add-on in the My Digicel app. Pay your bill in full on time and you can win an iPhone 17 Pro Max every week. A bill write-off up to $10 grand, a grand prize of $1 million. Unlock winnings with Digicel. Better connected.
Authorized under Section 58 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Conditions apply. Promotion valid from February 6 to April 4.
Every voice matters here, and yours has always mattered to us.
The Family Club is your front row seat to be part of the conversation officially.
Join the nationwide 90 FM Family Club today on Patreon.
Time now for Street Smarts 2 with Ludlow McLean. Good morning, Ludlow.
Good morning, George. Good morning again, and to all our listeners, thanks for tuning in. And at this time, we are into the peak hour. It's a rush hour peak hour. Now, if you're in Ligony, say you're coming from Garden Town Road, you're going to find Papine quite active indeed, especially in the Papine Square area. There's public transportation, everything, people crossing roads. And if you're coming from the other section, coming from Augustown or coming from even the University Hospital, once you get in that particular area, you're going to have the traffic. And the traffic really takes you all the way along Olop Road. Now, once you approach anywhere close to the embassy, or if you're coming even out of Old Pastures, to get in that particular direction, whether you're coming westbound or you're going eastbound, whichever way you're coming from Oak Road towards Ligony, you're going to find the traffic, and it's bumper to bumper. So it also means that if you're coming from Monroe Road onto Wellington Drive, traffic. If you're on Monroe Road, it's traffic. Going on Olop Road, going past CV Avenue, the top of Mountain View Avenue, it's traffic going all the way down. So you won't go to escape the traffic in this particular area. What I noticed, though, is if you're going through Hope Boulevard and Charlemont Avenue, Charlemont Drive, you're going to find it much easier. But then what happens when you get across to Paddington, you're going to have some traffic in that area. But Ligony area is always a challenge at this time of the month. This is in respect of Kingston 6. Majority of that side is Kingston 6. All right, but the other areas that I have traffic, coming to the roundabout by Harborview, that's where you're going to have some traffic. And remember, it's not smooth sailing along to Florida Glasport on the westbound side. It's really bumpy in that bumpy. And remember that pothole. I don't know if it is cleared yet, but that pothole just in the vicinity at the stoplight at Sir Florida Glasport before you get onto coming from Winnow roadside in that little corner there. If you're not observing properly, you could fall into that hole and damage your tire or rim. I keep reminding the relevant authorities about that. So, our second report for the morning, bright and sunny conditions, still cool. Have yourselves a great day. At Street Smart, your safety is all concerned. Over to you, George.
Thank you, Ludlow. Ludlow there with Street Smarts 2. Up next, front page. Front Page is brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business. For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. You're now tuned into our discussion segment, The Front Page. An earthquake was felt in parts of the island early Tuesday morning. Residents of Kingston and St. Andrew reported feeling the tremor around 3:19 a.m. The quake was also reportedly felt in sections of Portland, St. Anne, St. Mary, St. Catherine, Manchester, and St. James. It's estimated to have had a magnitude of 5.6. Tuesday's tremor follows another quake on Sunday at about 7 a.m. It had a magnitude of 5.6 with an epicenter located northeast of Port Antonio, Portland. For more, we're being joined by head and research fellow of the Earthquake Unit, Kevin Tanku. Kevin, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide this morning. What more can you tell us, Kevin, about the earthquake felt this morning in sections of the country?
Okay, well, it's around 3:18 a.m. That we would have recorded events around 80 to 90 kilometers roughly east of Manganiel. We would have revised the magnitude, so initially it was a 5.6. We're now at 5.4 based on more data coming in over the last couple of hours. And we've had reports across the country, across the island and various parishes. I heard you just mention St. James as well. I've not seen anything confirmed to us directly, but we'll follow up on that. But yes, we've had reports from several parishes so far indicating that persons would have felt at least some level of shaking.
And could you tell us some more, for example, about the fault line for this particular earthquake and how many felt earthquakes have been recorded since the start of 2026?
Sure. So based on its location that we have so far, it seems to fall right on the Enrico Planting Garden fault zone or along segments of that fault. Now that fault line runs through Jamaica, through parts of St. Thomas, and it actually connects offshore Jamaica and into Haiti. So it's a regional scale fault with many offsets on it. So that's the rough location between Jamaica and Haiti. And then in terms of the number of events that we've had for the year so far, well, this is the 7th felt earthquake for the year. 5 of them being within our local zone, meaning earthquakes that occurred within Jamaica's local zone. And then these 2 most recent earthquakes, which was south of Cuba and this one between Jamaica and Haiti.
And this magnitude earthquake, where does it fall in terms of threshold? Is it considered minor, major?
No, this would be a moderate. So between 5 and 5.9, we consider it moderate based on the magnitudes.
And persons have been, raising concerns, Kevin, since the start of the year, wondering what's happening. It's as if every other week or so, they're feeling an earthquake. Is this activity unusual?
No, it's not unusual from our side, particularly because we look at it from not just based on if you just feel an earthquake, but on statistically the numbers of events that we record. So when we look at, for instance, in January, we would have recorded, it's about 28 local earthquakes. And this is not that drastically different from previous months. So from our side, it's not something out of the ordinary. But again, earthquakes are unpredictable. You cannot tell when you may have a big earthquake. They are naturally occurring. It's something, because of our location, we are susceptible to these type of earthquakes. And again, because of better detection and, sort of more, I would say, more widespread information across social media and different avenues for people to probably post stuff, that you tend to get a little more traction around earthquakes in recent years.
And in terms of, Kevin, how persons should be responding to tremors they feel, what's your word this morning to Jamaicans out there, whether it be in the school community, they're at work, for example, us here at Nationwide, it's in a tower, they're at home?
So I see over the last couple of years, particularly, we've seen greater interest in, even with schools, taking part in earthquake preparedness drills, from the corporate side of Jamaica, from different government entities. We've seen a bit more emphasis on preparedness and knowing what to do when an earthquake actually happens. Now, when you get something like a bit of a moderate shaking or light shaking, you would want to probably at least ensure that you cover or protect your head, and you try to at least mitigate from those very basic sort of moves. So what we try to emphasize on as well is that if you are uncertain about the safety of your building, to evacuate and have it assessed in some way or the other. But again, we encourage evacuation drills and various preparedness and mitigation techniques that you would employ, whether it be at home, whether it be in school or in the workplace.
Kevin, hold the line. We're speaking with Kevin Tanku, Head and Research Fellow of the Earthquake Unit at the University of the West Indies. Going to take a break here on NTM. We'll be back with more.
Jamaica live good, yeah. I make we enjoy life, while we feel safe at night. Jamaica live good.
Jamaica, stop the killing and give up the guns. Just live good now.
The time brought to you by the Ministry of National Security and Peace is
7:30.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Turn up the heat with Hot Listing, Nationwide 90FM's new on-air and online classifieds feature. If you have a car for sale, room for rent, or yard sale come up. If you look at work or need stuff. If you provide a service, make it a Hot Listing, Nationwide 90FM's new on-air and online classified segment. Your listing plays again and again. From morning till evening. You sing it, we play it. You say it once, Jamaica hears it all day, every hour. Contact our sales team now at 876-630-1210 or sales at nationwidenewsnetwork.com. Hot Listings on Nationwide 90 FM, a new revolution in media.
From the biggest tracks to the biggest energy, Nationwide keeps it moving. If you love the vibes, come and lock in with us for real.
World boss, if a prison could stop me.
Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club today on Patreon.
Practice. God, me say you watch you over me practice.
You may have
have been hearing the teasers. Now it's official. Beginning Monday, February 9, 2026, Nationwide News Network launches something special. The Nationwide Family Club, exclusively on Patreon.
With the Family Club, members get early access to our documentaries before anyone else. Some of your favorite segments, including Cliff Says, What's on My Mind, Cover Story, and others, will now be a click away inside the Family Club. There are 3 tiers of membership. First, Bronze, the Family Insider, behind-the-scenes access, Monday motivational videos, members-only chats, and on-air birthdays and anniversary shoutouts.
Second, Silver, Nationwide VIP. Breaking news alerts, exclusive documentaries, quizzes, personal milestones celebrated on air, and weekly family roll call mentions. Oh, and for our biggest supporters,
our gold category, elite listener, full archive access, early releases, private studio tours, live show experiences, personalized birthday videos, and exclusive live streams. From historic election coverage to lifetime, impact, Jamaican milestones, and rare archive content. This is Nationwide like you've never seen it before. The Nationwide Family Club, coming to you February 9, 2026 on Patreon.
Join the family, support Nationwide 90 FM, the station that informs, entertains, and educates. Visit patreon.com/Nationwide News Network. That's patreon.com/Nationwide News Network. Nationwide Family Club, where you are family, because we see you as family.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. Got some news while we were doing the newscast at 7 o'clock, and I felt it necessary to just share on the fly. And that item of news concerned some homicides over on Monday. One at 4 a.m., one at 9:35 p.m., one at 8:45 p.m. And the locations, 2 in St. Mary, one in Robbins Bay, one in Oracobessa, and the other one in Rocky Point, Clarendon. Now, there was a disturbing video, or a couple of disturbing videos that I got minutes after 5 this morning, which I shared in the news group, Tony, you would have seen them, of the mother and daughter reportedly killed by gunmen in Rocky Point in Clarendon at 8:45 p.m. last evening. What we're getting is the names. What we don't know is which of the women is who. Norma Scott and Kerrian Spencer are confirmed as the 2 women shot and killed, and it makes for it's tough. The images that we have that we won't show, and the videos we have which we won't show either, are showing a woman in a blue dress, and she has on a blonde wig. Looks as if she was sitting on a stool and on the ground and motionless. The video, a picture showing the same thing. And then an elderly woman wearing a dress, a head tie, 1 foot of slipper, and she's face down. The police are saying that both of them were victims of gunmen's bullets. In fact, one of the videos, it looks as if it's a bar or some establishment that they operate, that they were working in, and the gunmen went there and they shot and injured a man, we're now being told as well. So a man was shot and injured in that incident. And then the 2 women, unofficial reports are that their mother and daughter killed in Rocky Point, Clarendon, shot down inside what appears to be a business establishment. And then in St. Mary, a businessman at his home, Garfield Singh, born on October 4, 1966. He runs a business in Boscobel, St. Mary. At his home, unknown assailants went there and they shot him inside his home. And he was pronounced dead at hospital. And then elsewhere in St. Mary again, St. Mary, which is known as a low homicide parish, Tana, Kemoy Finley, 32 years old, of Stockholm Park, Highgate, St. Mary, shot and killed by unknown assailants in Robbins Bay at about 9:35 p.m. And then in St. Mary again, so 3 big incidents in St. Mary yesterday. After those 2 men were killed, the police were called to Days Mountain in Arakabessa, where they found the skull of a human inside a fridge. Don't know what to make of that, but the item says skull of a human found in a refrigerator at about 3:50 p.m. on Monday afternoon. And you wonder what motivated these incidents and whether or not the investigators were on the cases. Certainly in the case of the 3 incidents where people were shot and killed, if they have enough to identify suspects. But not good news to report on this Tuesday morning.
Not at all. And just some more information before we go to our next scheduled segment. The reports indicate that Norma Spence, she was a fish vendor, 61 years old, and Carrion Scott, a 41-year-old. So those 2 women cut down by gunmen in Rocky Point in Clarendon, and a man was also injured in that incident. Yeah.
All right. So we crack on now because we're continuing the front page. And yesterday you'd have heard me speak about the 2 big resignations from the UK government and the front foot move by the leader of Scottish Labour to say that his boss had lost his confidence and that he must go. Well, Welsh First Minister Eluned Morgan says she backs Sir Keir Starmer remaining as British Prime Minister, saying the country needs stability in an age of instability. But in her statement on Tuesday, Morgan also called the Lord Mandelson scandal involving Peter Mandelson deeply troubling, and that once again the voices of women and girls were ignored. That statement from her comes a day after Scottish Labour leader Anas Sarwar called for Sir Keir Starmer to resign, after which Morgan was criticised for remaining silent as Sir Keir battled to shore up his premiership. UK cabinet ministers, including the Welsh Secretary Joe Stevens, responded to Sarwar's call by offering their support to the Prime Minister. And just to understand where this leaves Sir Keir Starmer ahead of, well, if he survives this week because of what happened yesterday, if he's just bought more time, if the writing is indeed on the wall and what that writing appears to be, we're being joined by political economist Professor John Rapley. Good morning, Professor.
Good morning, George. Good morning, Tana.
Good morning.
How are you reading what is happening to Sir Keir Starmer in the crucible of British politics at this time?
Well, it's really just right now the betting is it's not whether, it's when he's going to go, although it could go on for quite a long time because there's no obvious successor to him. His leadership is very weak, his premiership is very weak, and he's in a very bad way, and I think he would need to do something very bold to put his leadership back on track, but unfortunately there's no indication that he is capable of those kind of bold moves. In fact, most of his agenda was put together by his recently resigned chief of staff, and it's not clear what he's going to do without him. So at the moment, he's looking very isolated and weak.
What is it about British politics, Professor Rapley, that puts a prime minister invariably, especially the ones in recent times, of always having a certain strongman figure behind them? And I speak of Tony Blair and let's say Alistair Campbell. Peter Mandelson was there in other capacities, but let's use Tony Blair and Alistair Campbell. Then we come forward to Boris Johnson and Dominic Cummings. Now we have Keir Starmer. Morgan McSweeney, who walked yesterday. Before Morgan McSweeney was Sue Gray, the author of that report which damned Boris Johnson as Prime Minister. Explain for my listeners why is it that there are certain figures who run Whitehall and who loom large in the British politics and wield so much power that the Prime Minister is almost beholden to them and their fate is tied with their Prime Minister?
Well, the fact that you have a powerful chief of staff is not unusual. You know, most political systems will have something similar to the same in the U.S. And the chief of staff in the White House is a very powerful individual. In many ways, is the acting president. I think what is different now is not that the position has become more powerful, but that in recent years you have had some prime ministers who, in terms of their own vision, were really quite weak, and they looked to their chief of staff not only to run the administration and implement their vision, but to actually come up with a vision for them. And I think that was certainly true for Keir Starmer. It's difficult for most observers to really say what Keir Starmer stands for, what he believes in. And it's much easier for people to say what Morgan McSweeney believes in, and to see that Starmer effectively looked to him to kind of run the show. And so without him, he's very weak. And that was the same with Boris Johnson and Dominic Cummings. I mean, Johnson never really he was a very protean figure. He sort of, bent with the wind and did what was popular, but it wasn't really, there wasn't really a particular vision that one could associate with Johnson other than a sort of a pathological ability to lie. In the case of Keir Starmer, it's the same. It's not a question of, in his case, of lacking integrity. It's just apparently lacking conviction, so that his chief of staff essentially steps in and plays that role.
If you could lay out for us, Professor, what makes it so difficult or challenging to defend Keir Starmer in this Mandelson matter at this time?
You mean for me to defend him personally, or for his supporters?
For MPs,
yes.
and the whole party just come on block behind him.
Right. Well, first of all, because he doesn't really identify with any particular faction in the party, and the Labour Party is a very factionalized party in Britain. He doesn't really line up with any one or the other. He doesn't really seem to have a vision of his own. He hasn't built a base the way Tony Blair built a base within the party, or the way Jeremy Corbyn at one time built a base in the party. He is kind of, as it were, therefore, without kind of any mass support. People lined up behind him because he was able to deliver this victory. I think there was a sense of exhaustion with both the internal fighting within the Labour Party under the previous leader and the melees within the country ever since Brexit.
And 14 years of unbroken Tory leadership.
Tory leadership, which by the end was seen as being really, just sort of going nowhere and really quite decadent. So I think that he came to office sort of promising to steady the ship, and that was a reassuring message. But quiet competence isn't really a vision. And the other thing, of course, is saying that you're quietly competent and then you make a decision like this, which turns out to be a catastrophically bad decision. Even that one rather slender claim on authority is gone.
I'm wondering, looking at Keir Starmer or Professor Rapley, and I'm wondering to myself, how much of a rod did he cut for his own back by his performances at the dispatch box on Wednesdays at PMQs against Boris Johnson, talking about integrity, talking about being decisive in leadership, talking about jumping and stamping out corruption the moment it emerges, talking about decisive leadership, and more crucially, judgment. He beat Johnson repeatedly for exercising bad judgment, for not knowing when to make decisions and, of course, which decisions to make. How much of that has come back to haunt him now, at least in the eyes of the public, seeing a man being victimized by the same things he campaigned against?
Certainly that's a factor. I mean, certainly he did. It's always a problem when you criticize somebody when you're in opposition, and when you step into government and you start doing the same, there's a risk of it being perceived to be doing the same thing. And they got off to a very bad start because they were doing things that didn't seem anything like the sort of scale of corruption that had preceded them. But, accepting free suits or free tickets to concerts and that sort of thing. And it just looked rather seedy. I think the other thing they really handicapped themselves very badly is they ran an extremely cautious election campaign where they were so anxious not to alienate voters. They sort of made so many promises about what they wouldn't do that there was very little left that they could do. So they said, for example, they weren't going to raise taxes on almost all taxes, and they left themselves a very small share of the tax base that they could sort of fiddle with the tax rate. Well, that's made it very hard for them to deliver on any of their other promises. They said they wouldn't reverse Brexit, and that is the one thing they could do to reinvigorate the economy. And in so many other ways, they, and I say they, Keir Starmer and his Chancellor Rachel Reeves, basically tied their hands behind their back. So they got power, they got this very large majority, but they have said they're not going to do anything with it, and they're in a very difficult way. The country is looking for some kind of bold change. They're not able to deliver it. There's this sort of perception of stagnation, which may or may not be justified, but certainly there is a perception that the country is just drifting right now.
Yeah. Hold the line first, Professor John Rapley. More from you after the break. This is Nationwide This Morning.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
7:48.
Hawkeye expresses heartfelt sympathy to all Jamaicans impacted by Hurricane Melissa. As we recover together, we remain committed to securing what matters most. The temperature by Hawkeye is
23 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 24 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 19 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Stepping confidently into a new year starts with one simple, powerful word. Yes! Say yes to new beginnings. Say yes to a secure future. Say yes to living the life you love with your family. With health and life insurance from Sagicor Life. We're here to give you the protection and peace of mind you deserve in 2026. All you have to do is say yes to what matters most. Call 888-SAGICOR to speak with an advisor today.
I didn't hear you leave. I wonder how am I still here?
This show is your escape, your vibe, your reset.
But I will go down with this shame.
If Urban Paradise ever brings you peace, joy, or a little relief, come closer.
What you won't do.
Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club today on Patreon.
You tried everything, but you don't give up.
Trans Jam Highways is having a 50% Valentine's Day discount on T-Tac packages. Get yours from the teller in the toll booth for only $1,250, including a $500 toll credit from February 9 to 2026. Got you quicker with a T-Tag every time on Trans Jam Highways.
You may have been hearing the teasers. Now it's official. Beginning Monday, February 9, 2026, Nationwide News Network launches something special. The Nationwide Family Club, exclusively on Patreon.
With the Family Club, members get early access to our documentaries before anyone else. Some of your favorite segments, including Cliff Says, What's on My Mind, Cover Story, and others will now be a click away inside the Family Club. There are 3 tiers of membership. First, Bronze, the Family Insider, behind-the-scenes access, Monday motivational videos, members-only chats, and on-air birthdays and anniversary shoutouts.
Second, Silver, Nationwide VIP. Breaking news alerts, exclusive documentaries, quizzes, personal milestones celebrated on air, and weekly family roll call mentions. Oh, and for our biggest supporters,
our gold category, elite listener, full archive access, early releases, private studio tours, live show experiences, personalized birthday videos, and exclusive live streams. From historic election coverage to lifetime, impact, Jamaican milestones, and rare archive content. This is Nationwide like you've never seen it before. The Nationwide Family Club, coming to you February 9, 2026 on Patreon.
Join the family. Support Nationwide 90 FM, the station that informs, entertains, and educates. Visit patreon.com/Nationwide News Network. That's patreon.com/Nationwide News Network. Nationwide Family Club, where you are family, because we see you as family.
Welcome back to the front page. We have Professor John Rapley speaking with us. Why? Because Keir Starmer is under tremendous pressure as a British Prime Minister. Got a stay of execution yesterday when some MPs came out in support of him. Just saw a breaking news item on the BBC where his health secretary, Wes Streeting, a man mooted by some, touted by some as one of the leading lights to replace him if it comes to that, said he backs the Prime Minister. But there is a lot of uncertainty over how long Starmer will remain in place as the head of the government in the UK. Professor Rapley, usually these things are motivated by how people feel about the person in the seat of Prime Minister. Whether or not constituents will say to their MPs, well, we support the Prime Minister, and you better darn well go out there and tell the public that, and tell the media that your constituency supports Starmer remaining in position as Labour leader and as Prime Minister. But how much of the love that the British public doesn't seem to have for Starmer, how much of that is motivated by the other leaders, the other alternatives? Kemi Badenoch is reinvigorated as a Tory leader, even though her party has been hit by high-profile defections. Nigel Farage is still the man of the moment and reform, with them expected to do very well in the upcoming elections, and Labour predicted to do catastrophically badly. How much do the alternatives to lead the Britain at this time cause Keir Starmer to be feeling no love from the British public?
I don't know if that's a big factor, because if you look at the approval ratings of all the leaders you've just mentioned, all of them actually have fairly poor approval ratings as well. It's Keir Starmer's, it's true, our business. He's now in the depths that rival the worst period of Liz Truss's brief and catastrophic premiership. But there isn't a particularly popular leader, and then you have someone like Nigel Farage, who's very popular among his base, but very much disliked by much of the rest of the British public. So in some respects, I think that is the one thing which sort of makes Keir Starmer's position look plausible, that he might not, as desperate as it looks, he might not be ousted anytime soon. Within his own party, there's no obvious successor at the moment. It's not clear who would secure the leadership and be able to build a sort of base of support within the broad Labour Party quickly. Kemi Badenoch has had a relatively good stretch in Parliament over the last few weeks, but that has to be set against the fact that up until about late last year, she was seen as being herself on the way out the door. Her leadership was going so badly. So it's really just relative to what was a very bad position. I think what will be very telling, it will be in 2 weeks, there is a by-election, how Labour does in that by-election. I think also how Reform does, because there is evidence that many British voters are going to vote tactically, which is to say they might vote Labour, or they might vote Green, they might vote for whichever candidate is most likely to beat Reform. If that's the case, if Reform looks to be sort of going to be sort of suffer a pincer movement in elections, that yes, it is polling above all the other parties in the high 20s, but if the other parties or the voters for other parties get together and rally around other candidates, that could translate to very few seats in Parliament. So I think if that happens, I think there's sort of the fear about, well, what happens if we lose Keir Starmer will begin to diminish. They begin to be prepared to experiment a bit more. I think what they don't want to do within the party is to replace him and run the risk that they produce someone who is at least as popular with some, a significant part of the country.
And the other point is, Professor Rapley, we were talking about this the other day, that not since Tony Blair has a British Prime Minister who won a mandate gone back to the polls to seek to defend that mandate. Everybody gets knifed by the internal wranglings of their own party, and Starmer seems to be the latest. What's happening there?
Well, I think it probably just reflects the state of Britain generally in post-financial crisis 2008, not just Britain, but many Western economies, or Western societies, that the economies have been pretty close to stagnant. The quality of public services has been diminishing. Taxes have been going up. There's a general sense of discontent. And you have governments which come to power making promises they can't keep. As soon as they fail to keep them within months, the public turn on them, and therefore the party begins to fight among itself. It's not like the old days when you could come to power and there are a lot of spoils to be distributed. Right now, there's an increasing fight over diminishing resources, and I think that is coloring the politics of the country. And I think, quite frankly, this is going to be the way it is for the future. If Nigel Farage were to become the next Prime Minister, I think he too would be a one-term Prime Minister because he too is making promises he's not going to be able to keep.
Do you think he'll survive? Starmer?
Do I think Keir Starmer? Well, I think, I wouldn't rule him out simply because of the power of inertia. It is possible that this sort of standoff could be prolonged for a year or two, during which time there's some kind of marginal improvement in the economy, there's some kind of development, and it could be also that he decides to do something bold, like say he's going to run the next election campaign on a manifesto promise to re-enter Europe, and that would make him suddenly very popular. I think the odds right now are against him surviving much past the middle of this year, but I wouldn't rule it out.
Hear you on that. Thank you for your insight this morning. As usual, always appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure. You have a good day.
Thank you. Professor John Rapley, political economist, there talking about the British Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer, who would have slept well relatively last evening. The best sleep he perhaps has gotten in the last 2 weeks. And he's looking to kick on from here, but the knives, we're being told, are still being sharpened in the shadows. And we may see another British Prime Minister who does not even get to go to the polls to seek a new mandate. His party topples him in an internal selection exercise. That's the front page.
It's time for Hot Listings, Nationwide 90 FM's on-air classifieds, made for quick ads and fast results.
Pure Photography, professional photography services based in Kingston, capturing weddings, engagements, portraits, and special events with a focus on real moments, beautiful details, and timeless images. Contact us at 876-417-0635. That's 876-417-0635. Or visit purephotographyjamaica.com.
It's time for Hot Listings, Nationwide 90 FM's on-air classifieds, made for quick ads and fast results.
Front Page was brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
8 o'clock.
From the mountainside to seaside, countryside to townside, inside and outside, it's across Jamaica this morning.
Taking you across Jamaica this Tuesday morning, Tuesday, February 10, 2026, the National Housing Trust, NHT, says approximately $400 million has been paid out to contributors under its Hurricane Melissa Relief Grant Initiative. Administrative Manager in the Customer Relations Management Division at the NHT, Charlotte Cooper, made the disclosure during a recent GIS think tank. She noted that the figure represents 1,049 of the 3,898 applications received as of January 27. Under its Hurricane Melissa grant facility, the NHT makes available a maximum grant of $500,000 to current and past contributors, as well as pensioners impacted by the Category 5 storm, which caused extensive damage in western Jamaica. However, Mrs. Luke Cooper said payouts are subject to assessment and applicants will receive what is required to assist them in the recovery process. She further noted that with the gradual return to normalcy in St. Elizabeth, Hanover, Trelawney and Westmoreland, the Trust has seen a steady increase in the number of applications for support from the organization. Mrs. Luke Cooper is also cautioning applicants that the grant application is separate from peril insurance claims. More than 2,000 residents of Quarry Hill in St. Catherine now have reliable access to potable water. This following the completion of the $36 million Quarry Hill Pipeline Improvement Project. Undertaken by the National Water Commission, NWC, the project involved the installation of approximately 5.2 kilometers of PVC distribution pipelines to resolve low-pressure issues and improve reliability, efficiency and quality of potable water delivery. It will benefit areas such as Sunflower Circle, Sundown Avenue, Sunbeam Crescent, Sunbeam Close, Henderson View, and Port Henderson Drive. Minister of Water Matthew Samuda, in addressing the recent commissioning ceremony at the Quarry Hill Basic School, said that the government continues to upgrade water infrastructure while restoring systems that were impacted by Hurricane Melissa. Finally, across Jamaica, Minister of Culture and Entertainment Olivia Babsy-Grange was presented with a commemorative vinyl token titled Jamaica Argentina, a Tango Reggae Sound Clash during the Bob Marley tribute concert at Emancipation Park in Kingston on Friday, February 6. The token was handed over by Ambassador of Argentina to Jamaica, His Excellency Marcelo Balbi Calvo. It was part of a cultural initiative developed by musicians from both countries to fuse reggae and tango traditions. Ambassador Balbi Calvo explained that the project blends the distinctive sounds and instruments of Jamaica and Argentina, including the bandoneon, to highlight shared musical influences and strengthen bilateral cultural ties. He noted that the collaboration seeks to build bridges between the two nations and demonstrate their growing friendship through music. In accepting the token on behalf of Jamaica's music fraternity, Minister Grange welcomed the initiative and underscored reggae's global reach and influence. And that's it for Across Jamaica for this Tuesday morning.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10 or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales for a better choice in the electrical business.
Turn up the heat with Hot Listing, Nationwide 90 FM's new on-air and online classifieds feature. If you have a car for sale, room for rent, or yard sale come up. If you look at work or need stuff. If you provide a service, make it a Hot Listing, Nationwide 90 FM's new on-air and online classified segment. Your listing plays again and again. From morning till evening. You sing it, we play it. You say it once, Jamaica hears it all day, every hour. Contact our sales team now at 876-630-1210 or sales at nationwidenewsnetwork.com. Hot Listings on Nationwide 90 FM, a new revolution in media.
Morning after morning, you've made Nationwide 90 FM part of your routine. So let's take this connection one step closer. Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club and be part of it officially on Patreon.
Family, amazing family.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. It's that time of a Tuesday morning. We turn to standards matters. In today's fast-moving world, standards, which are an agreed set of guidelines for how things should be made, measured, and performed or performed, matters. From the food we eat and the water we drink to the buildings we enter and the products we use, standards ensure consistency, safety, quality, and reliability, often without us even realizing it. So, this morning on Standards Matters, I'm being joined by Executive Director of Bureau of Standards Jamaica, Dr. Velton Gooden, and Manager of Testing and Industrial Services, Richard Lawrence. Both of you, good morning.
Good morning. And good morning to your listeners and Nationwide News.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide this morning. Let's begin with you, Executive Director Dr. Gooden. Following the devastation caused by Hurricane Melissa, why was it important for the Bureau of Standards Jamaica to introduce the Rebuild with Standards campaign at this point in Jamaica's recovery?
Well, as you all know, the Bureau of Standards is an agency within the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, the Business Ministry, led by Senator the Honorable Robin Hill, and also State Minister Delano Seawright. The agency is involved in setting standards to ensure that Jamaica can become the country to live, to work, to do business, and raise families, and be globally competitive. So when we suffered the devastation on the 28th of Hurricane Melissa, it is reported that it caused damage of $8.8 billion. And thankfully, through the government's intervention, we have been able to secure funds, as I understand it, of about $6.7 billion
U.S.
to help U.S. to help reconstruct. That's a lot of money, and it offers a unique opportunity for us to rebuild, not just to replace what was lost, but to ensure that we get value for money going forward. Some of the buildings that were devastated are decades old. Some churches that I saw are over 100 years. Clearly, those were not built to modern building standards. And so we wanted to ensure that the rebuilding that takes place in collaboration with other government agencies is done in a way that is sustainable and without in resilience going forward. Because let's face it, every year we have a hurricane season. There's nothing prevent another devastating hurricane similar to the one that we had for Melissa. So we need to ensure that whatever buildings that we put in place can sustain hurricanes of a category 5 or earthquakes of maybe 6.0 on the Richter scale.
Yeah,
so that's why we're pushing that we need to build with the requisite standards in mind.
So is it limited to an educational campaign, or what else does it entail?
Well, what we have done, because the documents are very technical documents, we've produced one for building and one for roads. But the one for building is based on the National Building Codes for small residential properties. That is, properties that are 3,200 square feet or less, or about 300 meters squared. And it covers a range of things that need to be done relating to floors, the base, walls, electrical insulation, plumbing, and so forth. So we pulled out of the standard itself what we call a guideline, just covering some of the basic requirements in a more readable and digestible format, so that even the small contractors out in the country place that are rebuilding a house can consult with it and ensure that they're, ensuring that the houses are done to meet basic requirements. That hurricane straps are there, they use screws in holding down the zinc, and so forth and so on. Just some basic requirements to help the rebuilding effort.
And how do persons access that information?
Oh, we've made it available on our website. So if you go to the BSJ website, it is there, and you can pull down this guideline. It's for free. Because we want as many people as possible to be able to access it.
Yeah. And if you could, Richard Lawrence, tell us that website and talk to us some more about the importance of the building codes that Dr. Gooden was referring to in protecting lives and property and long-term investments.
Thank you very much for that question. The Bureau of Standards is no longer a regulator, and so we are a facilitator of development for the country. Go to our website at www.bsj.org.jm, and there is a wealth of resources there. The building code itself is considered Jamaica's safety rule book on how we design our buildings, how we construct them. It includes lessons learned from past disasters, earthquakes, hurricanes. So even the passage of Hurricane Melissa feeds into the review process for upgrading the code over time. But when building follows the code, you're better able to stand up to future hurricanes that we know Jamaica will face. Seismic activities, the Earthquake Awareness Month was in January, and even this morning, some persons felt an earthquake. And it is and from an investment point of view,
yes,
a code compliant building is likely to last longer and cost less over time than some buildings that are not built towards the code.
Mm-hmm. You just said something important, Richard, that the building codes post Hurricane Melissa reviews are being done there as well. If you could talk to us some more about that, what that review looks like.
Okay, well, generally speaking, all standards and codes are periodically reviewed. Mm-hmm. And we have a cycle of 5 years. But that does not prevent interim reviews when the needs arise. So, looking at the building code after Melissa, we are seeing that although we have a Category 5 hurricane that passed through Jamaica and the code applies to Category 5, we might need to change what Category 5 is. Because when you're going over 200 knocks, it is not an occurrence that we normally have over the last 100 years of Jamaica's experiencing these weather events. So we have to constantly look back to see how we can use those lessons learned and improve on it going forward.
Mm-hmm. And in looking back, what exactly are you identifying or pointing out? Is it how people are roofing their homes? What are you seeing post Hurricane Melissa in your review that you might need to sharpen up on in the building codes?
Well, the building code as well as other standards are developed through consensus. And some of our stakeholders include the Jamaica Institution of Engineers, Jamaica Institution of Architects, the Master Builders Association of Jamaica's Consumer Affairs Commission, and the public. I know that the Jamaica Institution of Engineers have done some preliminary assessment of the damage in Western Jamaica, and they're compiling a report to share. That informs partially the upgrading of the code if it's necessary. And what they're seeing is a number of the structures were not built to code. So it is not a deficiency in the code itself, but it's a deficiency in adherence to the code. Roof connections is a major issue. We have seen out west how they are connected using roof straps. There are different type of constructions that were used that didn't stand up to the hurricane because they didn't have the proper connections with a roof to wall, a wall to foundation. Mm-hmm. So a part of what we are doing now is educating the public and giving the public access to information that they can use, whether you're an engineer buying or using the small building code, or you are a contractor that you haven't done an engineering course or an architectural course. You can still get resources from the BSJ to build back safely. So the simplified document that we have available, pulls out technical things from the billing code, the small billing code, and puts it into bite-sized, simplified ways that the regular, informal developer can use.
Makes it easier for them to understand. But another component, Dr. Gooden, of the campaign is the START program, which I'm being told provides free, fully funded technical support to MSMEs. If you could talk to us some more about that aspect of the campaign.
Right. So what we realized is that a number of small and even micro businesses, nano business, if you may, were severely impacted by Hurricane Melissa. In addition to losing their roofs and maybe equipment and so forth, a number of them were not operational. So even if they could garner enough resources to, fix their roofs and get back, they still have to meet, in the case of food manufacturers or agro-processors, they still have to do so in a safe and hygienic way.
Yes.
And so they would need, in some cases, to be re-inspected and re-registered with NCRA, which is the National Compliance and Regulatory Authority that registers food manufacturers for the purposes of offering food, processed food to the consuming public. So what we have done is almost $10 million.
If you could just repeat for us, Dr. Gooden, we lost you for a second there.
Yeah, so we have set aside through the START program, we have set aside a sum of $10 million. And this is to help small manufacturers basically come back into production and be able to get registered for sale of their products.
And when you say come back into production, what do you mean? Purchasing their equipment?
It includes things like making the standards available, training, hand-holding and consultancy to get them registered. If they have need for calibration of their scales and other equipment, all of that is done free for them because we really want to get them back into operation and to be contributing again to the production and growth of the economy.
And how do they benefit?
So they benefit from, so these services that we provide are they wouldn't normally have to pay a fee. We have waived the fees for those small manufacturers.
Oh, so they don't need to do any sort of sign up. They just know that when they're about to do these particular things, they won't have to pay for it.
Yes. So, but it's not for everyone. Obviously, $10 million can stretch to all the manufacturers.
M as in mango or B as in boy? Million or
million.
mango.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, in collaboration with our parent ministry, we have been doing a lot of field work to get information on the most needy in the areas impacted in the Western End, in St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Montego Bay, these type of areas. And so we are starting with a selection process that targets about 20 initially of the most badly affected ones that were registered before the hurricane and which are no longer in production to get them back. And then as the need arises, we may revisit to add more. But the idea is to try and get back businesses operational as quickly as possible by this direct intervention.
And a final one before we let you go. For you, Richard Lawrence, homeowners, small developers who may be rebuilding for the first time, what practical advice would you give to them?
The most important advice is engage the Bureau early. Before you start a construction, not after the problem starts. We are pushing our mantra, the Bureau of Standards Jamaica, making standards work for you. We're here to work for you, not to stress you out. So you can contact us if you need testing services, and those would be contractors. homeowners, as you see, you're doing an expansion on your bedroom, find out are the blocks tested. We can do the test for you. Concrete is coming on site for your decking, for your bedroom. Let us come and do the checks for you. We can test to identify if there are any weak materials, improper mixed design, non-compliant products, and we will advise you accordingly. We're going to be from the start, help people avoid costly mistakes, delay safety, and ensure rebuilding efforts result in structures that are safe, resilient.
Yes, safe and resilient, including them coming to check if you're purchasing sand that may have been stolen from the beach in Parity. Yeah. So Richard Lawrence, Manager of Testing and Industrial Services at the Bureau of Standards and Executive Director of the Bureau of Standards Jamaica, Dr. Velton Gooden. Both of you, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you too. It has been a pleasure being on your show.
You too. So that's it for Standards Matters. Going to take a break here on NTM. We'll be back with more.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
8:23.
Fontana Pharmacy has a wide variety of items from pharmaceuticals, household, cosmetics, toys, and more. The temperature by Fontana Pharmacy, it's all good inside, is
25 degrees Celsius in capital city Kingston, 24 out west in Montego Bay, and in Mandeville, 19 degrees Celsius.
We love showing you the fun side of Jamaica. New places, good food, real vibes, and pure adventure.
Sweet Jamaica, we not left ya.
If you enjoy exploring with us, come closer. Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club today on Patreon.
We not left ya. Ain't nothing like this sweet cool breeze a jammed up.
Data Protection Matters is brought to you by Design Privacy. We help you comply and build trust.
Quick question. If I asked you right now, what does a data protection officer actually do? What would you say? Maybe you'd say they write policies, or they show up when something goes wrong, or perhaps, honestly, I'm not really sure. This is Data Protection Matters, powered by Design Privacy, and I'm your host, Chukwuemeka Cameron. Today, we are clearing up one of the biggest misconceptions in business, because the DPO role is widely misunderstood. And that misunderstanding is costing organizations money, reputation, and trust. Some companies treat the DPO like a checkbox. Appoint someone, tick the box, move on. Others only think about data protection after the breach, after the regulator calls, after the headlines. That's backwards, that's expensive, and it's entirely avoidable. Here's the truth. A good data protection officer is not a policy writer. They are not a crisis responder. They are your organization's privacy operating system. The person who keeps risk visible, manageable, and defensible every single day. When experts study what makes a DPO effective, they identify 4 major areas of competence. Think of these as pillars holding up your entire privacy infrastructure. The first pillar is technical expertise. A DPO needs deep knowledge of data protection law in Jamaica. That's the Data Protection Act. But it goes beyond knowing the law. They need to understand how it applies to your operations, your systems, your vendors, your data flows. And they need enough IT security knowledge to have informed conversations with your technical teams. The second pillar is interpersonal skills. This surprises people. Data protection is not a back office function. A DPO communicates constantly with the Information Commissioner, with staff at every level, with vendors, with executives who don't have time for jargon. If your DPO can't communicate, your compliance will fail. The third pillar is leadership. A DPO isn't just following rules. They are setting direction. They advise senior management. They contribute to governance. They help shape business continuity planning. They are at the table before problems become crises. And the fourth pillar is core character, integrity, ethics, the ability to make conflict-free judgments, the commitment to put data subjects, the people whose information you hold, at the center of every decision. A DPO without integrity is dangerous. This role requires independence, the courage to tell uncomfortable truths, even to powerful people. Technical, interpersonal, leadership, character. Now let's get concrete. What does a DPO actually do day to day? 4 core functions. Function 1, continuous compliance monitoring. Notice that word, continuous, not once a year, not when we have time. A DPO builds routines, creates checks, establishes metrics, who's verifying that your customer data is handled correctly, that your vendors meet their obligations, that the policies you wrote 2 years ago are actually being followed. If the answer is nobody really, you have a problem. A DPO solves it. Function 2, early stage advisory. This is where DPO saves you real money. Here's what happens without proper guidance. Someone builds a great new feature. They launch it. 6 months later, they discover they have violated the Data Protection Act. Processed data without proper consent. Created a security vulnerability. Now they are rebuilding. Notifying customers. Maybe notifying the regulator. Paying for fixes that cost 10 times what planning would have cost. A DPO asks the questions before you ship. They conduct data protection impact assessments that identify risks when they are cheap to fix. The best DPOs don't slow things down. They help you move faster with confidence. Function 3, regulator liaison. At some point, the Information Commission may have questions for your organization. Routine inquiry, customer complaint, breach investigation. When that moment comes, you want one clear, credible point of contact who can respond calmly and accurately. That's your DPO. That's their role. Function 4, training and awareness. Here is something important. Privacy failures rarely happen because someone is evil. They happen because someone is busy, rushed, and unsure of the right thing to do. Training solves that. A DPO builds a culture where the right decision is the easy decision, where everyone, from receptionist to CEO, understands why data protection matters and what they're supposed to do. Awareness, understanding, habit. And by the way, if you are realizing right now that you need to get your priorities straight on data protection, that's exactly what we are covering in our free webinar later this month. I'll share the details at the end of the show. Here's the simplest way to think about what a DPO does. They reduce surprises, and in privacy, surprises are expensive. A customer complains to the regulator because you kept marketing to them after they opted out. Surprise! Your vendor suffers a breach and your customer data is exposed. Surprise! You launch a feature and discover you needed consent you never collected. Surprise! The Information Commissioner investigates and you can't prove compliance. Surprise! Every surprise costs money. Legal fees, remediation, penalties, reputation damage, lost trust. A DPO sees these surprises coming. They build systems that catch problems early. They create documentation that proves you have done the right thing. And when something goes wrong, you are prepared. There's no ribbon-cutting ceremony for the crisis that never happened. But the value is real. The protection is real. I want to mention something that gets overlooked. We talk about skills, qualifications, experience, but what about character? The best DPO frameworks identify core values that are essential, not optional. Commitment to data subjects, respect for privacy, continuous learning, ethics and integrity, and I love this one, liberty and justice. Because a DPO isn't just protecting data, they're protecting people, upholding rights, ensuring that in an age of surveillance and algorithms, human beings still control their own stories. So let me speak to you directly. If you are a business leader, ask yourself, do we have someone actually doing this work? Not in name only. If not, you have a gap, and gaps become surprises. If you are in HR, understand this isn't like filling any other role. You're looking for technical knowledge, communication skills, leadership ability, and rock solid integrity. Assess all four. And if you're considering becoming a DPO, this is a role with real impact. You protect people, you prevent harm, you build something that matters. Learn, grow, lead. A DPO is not a luxury, not a checkbox, not a crisis responder. They are your privacy operating system, the person who monitors compliance continuously, who advises before problems occur, who represents you to regulators, who trains your team to make the right decisions. They reduce surprises, and in privacy, surprises are expensive. Now, if today's conversation has you thinking about what your organization data protection priorities should be, we've got you covered. On February 26th, we're hosting a free webinar called Data Protection Priorities. It is a practical step-by-step session where we walk you through exactly how to get your house in order. No jargon, no fluff, just clarity. Save your spot at designprivacy.io. Come with your questions, we'll answer them live. This has been Data Protection Matters. I'm Chukwuemeka Cameron. Understand the role, build the function, protect what matters.
Data Protection Matters was brought to you by Design Privacy. We help you comply and build trust.
The Commission of Strata Corporations is here to help, but we need your help too. That's why corporations are required to file annual returns. Annual returns include minutes of AGMs and EGMs, names and addresses of executive committee members, certificate of insurance, and completed forms and fees. Help us, help you. File your annual returns today. Visit reb.gov.jm for more information.
Are you ready to turn your sales and marketing skills into high earnings? Nationwide 90 FM is searching for business development executives to help us grow our business and build lasting client relationships. If you have experience across all stages of the sales cycle and possess strong communication, negotiation, and time management skills with a proven sales track record, this opportunity is perfect for you. Join our team and work with the top corporate brands, media agencies, and of course, our on-air personalities. Enjoy networking opportunities, professional growth, and competitive commissions. Ready to take the next step? Send your resume to hr@nationwidenewsnetwork.com today.
In times of loss, sharing information matters. Nationwide 90 FM offers professional obituary announcements, ensuring family, friends, and communities are informed with care and dignity.
It's been a long day.
Obituaries are aired weekdays at 8:30 a.m., 12:30 p.m., and 7:30 p.m. When it's important to reach people, let us help you do so respectfully. Contact our sales team today, 876-630-1210, or sales@nationwidenewsnetwork.com for more information. Nationwide 90 FM, informing Jamaica with care.
February is celebrated each year as Heart Month, a time dedicated to raising awareness about heart health and the prevention of cardiovascular disease. In recognition of this occasion, the Heart Foundation of Jamaica will host a series of comprehensive health screening and educational activities aimed at empowering the public and healthcare professionals alike. For more, I'm being joined by Executive Director of the Heart Foundation of Jamaica, Deborah Chen. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having us on your program.
You are most welcome. So, February, well, we take care of the heart all the time, every day, all day. February is especially special for heart care. Give me and my listeners an idea of what they can expect your foundation to have a hand in where Heart Month's activities are concerned.
Well, just one little thing. I'm not so sure that we really take care of our heart every day, and that's the problem.
Yes.
That is not the truth at all. The fact is that the heart just keeps pumping every day, all day, and we pay it no mind. We give it bad food. We expect it to bear loads by being, many pounds overweight. We don't exercise, and then we're amazed when we drop down or when something goes wrong. We pay scant regard actually for the most part. And that, I think, in February, we just try to highlight during this time the importance of being screened, to know your status, to know your numbers, and more importantly, throughout the year, to conduct your lifestyle in such a way that it will ensure that your heart pumps for many, many years to come, which is not what we're doing for the most part at the moment, based on the statistics that we're seeing.
And give me those statistics, because I'm keen to know if Jamaicans are trying to know those numbers, if they want to know the status of their heart health.
Well, not good. The Jamaica Health and Lifestyle Survey is done by University of the West Indies and Partners, which was done on 3 occasions. They're about to go back in the field for the 4th. 2001, 2008, 2017. Persons who were overweight went up from 45.7% in the first one, and in the third one we're at 53.9. High blood pressure was at 20.9 in 2001. It's now at 31.5. Diabetes was at 7.2%. We're now at 10.2. Well, that was in 2017. I dread to see the next figures post-COVID and so on.
Yes.
And high cholesterol was 14.6 in 2001. And at the last research, it was 17.1. And at the Heart Foundation, where people are self-selecting population, one of the worrying things to us is that, we do several thousand blood pressure checks a year, for example. And out of the persons who said that they did not have any problem with blood pressure, no history or whatever, we found that 41.4% had elevated blood pressure, with 25% being in the dangerous stage of stage 1 and 2, meaning that you need medical intervention. And these are people who said that they didn't have any history of it. And those who said that they had a history of it, 62.7% of them, the reading that we got showed that they were not controlled adequately. So this is, we're in dire straits here. You're walking around with pressures that could be a stroke at any moment or a heart attack.
It's funny you say that, because I get the impression that for many Jamaicans, taking care of your heart, and I don't know where this started, taking care of your heart means drinking coconut water to wash off your heart.
Well, coconut water is good, but that alone cannot do the trick.
Yeah, but you get what I'm saying, though, because...
Yes, I understand, yes. It is, and we have all these myths, like we don't take our medicine because my head never hurt me this morning, I never feel like it needed,
Yes.
And as for the foods that we're eating, George, oh my goodness, the ultra-processed foods full of calories, sugar,
yes,
all type of additives with no nutrient value.
Yes.
So what we're doing is consuming empty calories. So we're putting on the weight, but to no benefit.
Yes.
Even the best of foods, you have to have in moderation.
Yes.
You can't just eat a whole tub of mangoes. They do have sugar.
Yes.
But at least you're getting some, something healthy out of it. The majority, if not all of these ultra-processed foods, serve no purpose whatsoever in terms of your health.
Even the fit among us, Deborah Chen, and I'm talking about athletes of school age who go through the ISA competitions and they run at champs and they perform in the various events. Is it mandatory for their heart health to be screened, for those who are handling them to know what the situation is, for these children to also know these situations so that, they can be put or kept on the right course?
No, it's not mandatory at all. We do offer at the Heart Foundation what we call sudden cardiac arrest screening, which is targeted specifically at that age group that you mentioned and that cohort, And we do get some groups coming in or bringing us to their location, but it is not mandatory. We do promote it heavily. Some people, some groups cite cost. I mean, I don't know what kind of value you can put on your son or daughter's life. But they will cite cost, or they will say things like, well, the school should pay it, or the club should pay it, and this is the parents now, right?
Yes.
And so there's all these type of excuses. But we do have a few teams that routinely come here, and I'm sure, there's others who go elsewhere as well to be checked. But it is critical because in those athletes, though, it will likely be a different scenario where they could have as opposed to the type of heart disease that affects older persons, they probably had an underlying, undetected condition that when they put their heart under stress or strain, I mean, the heart can manage that normally, but it brings it to light. And this is where you'll find somebody collapsing on the football field with no known history before, but then they weren't screened, so they weren't able to detect it.
And that's why I asked, of memory, of course, of the former St. George's College footballer, Dominic James.
Very, very sad, yes.
Yeah. So here's the thing. What's the profile of the average person who would come into your office for screening?
Well, who it should be is anybody from, say, maybe 30, 35 up, because as you have seen in the media, people are younger and younger are getting heart attacks and strokes.
Yes.
So, really, there isn't an exact, I can tell you what the profile is of those who get the heart attack and the stroke, but the average person coming in could be anybody, can be me, can be you. Because you could be slim and trim and still have high blood pressure and still have high blood sugar. It doesn't necessarily, you can't say, look on somebody and know.
Yes.
So it should be anybody. You need to know your numbers. If you do not know your blood pressure, your blood sugar, your cholesterol, your height and weight, and you can do an electrocardiogram as well to pick up if there's any underlying, conductivity issues in the heart, then you could be at risk. You have no way of knowing. Worse, if you have a family history. And then worse, if your lifestyle is not conducive to heart health. So it's the type of foods that you're eating and the lifestyle, the smoking and the drinking and so on that you're doing. You expect your heart to just keep going, no matter what you throw at it.
Yes.
And then everybody's saying, but nothing didn't wrong with him. Why him drop down so?
Yes.
But usually you find that it's not just dropping down so, except in the athletic case, which is a different thing.
Yes.
But usually there are underlying conditions that either they didn't check for, weren't aware of, or they knew but they didn't do anything about.
Yes. And so as in the last minute we have, Deborah Chen, your appeal to Jamaicans in this month, Heart Month, is what?
Get screened. I mean, yes, adjust your lifestyle while you're at it. But as we speak, get screened. We're at 28 Beechwood Avenue, Kingston 5. You can turn up at any time and just say, I want to be screened, or you can call for an appointment. Let us say, you have your regular doctor. You can go to your government health center. Get screened. Do not wait until something happens. And in some cases, that may be the final event. So do not wait on that to happen. Our theme for Heart Month is heart attack. Could it be you? And the answer is yes. And the only way to mitigate against as much as you can is to lead a healthy lifestyle and to know your numbers. Get screened.
Yeah. And as you launch your heart defense against heart attack, you start with screening. Yeah? There you go.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Yes.
I just gave you a tagline a while ago. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for highlighting this very important issue. Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. All the best.
Right.
Executive Director Yeman of the Heart Foundation of Jamaica. They're on Beechwood Avenue in Kingston, and she can't hammer home the message enough. Get checked, get screened. Yeah? That's healthier you.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
8:46.
Love has found its way in our hearts today, yeah. Love has found its way in our hearts.
you what, as we kick off the birthday segment this morning, it is necessary to do a roll call for the Nationwide Family Club, growing by the minute. And we want to salute those of our family club members who have paid up their subscriptions. Talking about Alexander Melville. Good morning. Herman Hat. No, when I say the name, you say good morning, Tana. So Alexander Melville. Good. There you go.
Good morning.
Herman Hyatt.
Good morning.
Jason Oliphant.
Good morning.
Keisha Malcolm.
Good morning.
Nadine Darby.
Good morning.
Paulette Mack.
Good morning.
Damien Otar.
Good morning.
Ethelyn Gale Hall.
Good morning.
Judith Moody.
Good morning.
Utinel Delivanti.
Good morning.
Errol J.
Good morning.
Raki Williams.
Good morning.
Ryan Strawn.
Good morning.
Barbara Bailey.
Good morning.
Philip Jackson, the big driver.
Good morning to ya.
Real Deal.
Good morning.
Desmar.
Good morning.
William Holland.
Good morning.
Georgia S. Calawan Miller.
Good morning.
Marcia Dunkley Gabriel.
Good morning.
Carlton Darby.
Good morning to ya.
And the big Manchester United fan, Tony Fisher.
Hello.
Yeah,
Good
man. These
morning.
are all paid up family club members. The roll call. I'm also acknowledging two more from your Tana. Jackie Lynch Stewart.
Hello to you. Good morning.
And Tamu Good.
Hello to you, Tamo. Good morning.
Tamu
Good morning.
Good this morning. So Nationwide Family Club members, that's the roll call for those who have signed up. Exclusive content, historic archives, documentaries, behind the scenes moments that you won't find anywhere else. And today you can share Perspective, Cliff Hughes' JBC program from January 1994, where he talks about the trade union movement. And if you go on to the patreon.com/Nationwide News Network portal, you'll see Cliff in that Perspective interview talking to the former Prime Minister Hugh Shearer, President General of the BITU, and former Prime Minister Bruce Golding. So both Hugh Shearer and Bruce Golding were talking to Cliff Hughes in that interview, but you can only see it if you go to the patreon.com/Nationwide News Network portal as a family club member. You can watch the Nick Photoworks story, the Jamil Mendes documentary, the Kevin Smith documentary, The Point Is, with a certain like a short man, Hurricane Melissa assessment that we did, looking at the Montego Bay Sports Complex. There's a quiz there, and there is trivia segments exclusive to the family club. What's on my mind, Cliff Says, cover story, all of those are on the portal. So go on over, sign up, and as Tana would say, let's have a time.
Indeed.
No more stumbling blocking our way. Clear out obstacles from out of our way. Like roses need water, we all live together. 'Cause we are one big family, living in a this here country. Yes, we are one big family. That's the way it's ought to be. Don't let the play tricks on your mind. Survival we need in this time. Take care of my son and I'll take care of yours. Come tomorrow, we won't live in the sorrow. One big family, together in a harmony. Yes, we are one big family, living in a this here country. Simplest thing is blam blam blam. What is this in our little island? Yes, it's all the gun fever. Yes, we can't stand it no longer. We are one big family, together in a harmony. Yes, we are one big family, living in a this here country. Joy, joy to the world. Joy, joy to boys and girls. Let mama and papa feel much better. We are one big family, living in a this here country.
That time of the morning when we tell some very special people happy birthday and happy anniversary. And Errol Jones says respect to the roll callers. Indeed. So on the birthday list this morning, I'm seeing here greetings to Brian from his mom, Juliet, aunties June, Jem, and brothers Andrew and Carson. Wishing you all the best life has to offer. Blessings unending on this your special day. So happy birthday greetings going out to Brian from your fam bam. And this one says happy King Day greetings to Raul Squire. Yes, he is celebrating his birthday today. Greetings coming from his friends, family members, and his Nutswood Express colleagues. He's also one of the Knutsford Express coach drivers who offers excellent customer service to his passengers at all times. So happy birthday to you, Raul Squire, from Ludlow and your Knutsford Express family, your friends, and your immediate family members too. And this one says, happy birthday greetings going out to veteran journalist Erica Virtue, coming from Arthur Hall over there at the Jamaica Observer. So happy birthday to you. Over on Facebook, happy birthday greetings going out to Donna Guy Williams, Will Williams. Happy birthday as well to Davine Spencer, Richard Reynolds, Kevin Dennis, Garfield Williams, and Merkel Williams as well. Happy birthday to you, wishing for you a great day. And Tina Larmond sending happiest blessed birthday greetings to Stacy and Doswell. Stacy and Doswell, it's your birthday today. Happy birthday to you, wishing for you a lovely one. Amoy Foster sending happy birthday shout outs and greetings to daughter Michaelia Foster, who's celebrating her big one today. Happy birthday to you, Michaelia. Your mommy is saying mommy loves you. And Nicoya Myrie sending happy birthday. Nicoya says, to my lifelong partner and beautiful wife, Anna K. Rather, is it Nico? It might be Nico Myrie. Nico sending happy birthday greetings to lifelong partner and beautiful wife, Anna K. Fletcher Myrie. Anna K. Fletcher Myrie, it's your birthday today. Your husband is wishing you a lovely day today, and he says you have been counting down from day 365. So love loads to you, Anna K. Fletcher Myrie. Happy birthday. And this one says, Spur Tree Homeaway Villa says, good morning. Can you guys wish my dad a happy birthday? Gaston Dussard, original taximan from Mandeville, now resides in the Bronx. Happy birthday to you, Gaston, coming from your son, Oriel Dussard, who's saying, love you, daddy. And Everton Harris sending happy Earth Strong to Everett Phillips. Everett Phillips, his friend and co-worker. A happy birthday to you. And Everton is also saying you're a real Man U supporter. So today is your birthday, Everett Phillips. Happy birthday to you from your friend, Everton Harris. And Melody Cook sending happy birthday greetings to Valerie Pottinger. Valerie Pottinger, who is Melody Cook's daughter's former teacher. All right, so happy birthday to you, Valerie Pottinger. Wishing for you a good one. Here comes another. Herman Chance sending happy birthday greetings to Sophia. Your mom loves you, Sophia. Herman is saying, your mommy. So happy birthday to you, Sophia. Wishing for you a great day.
There's no such thing as Martha Sue's Disneyland.
Someone is asking if 7 p.m. on YouTube is a new cutoff time. No man, Nationwide at 5 really ends after comment section, 7:30. So stay until 7:30 on the YouTube.
Some more birthdays here. Jen is sending happy birthday greetings, belated happy birthday wishes to, this one says, my dear daughter Flavia Walker, who celebrated on Sunday. Blessings on you always. Greetings coming to you from Canada. So Flavia Walker, belated happy birthday greetings to you from your mommy. So Charmaine Walker is saying the YouTube transmission ends at 7. Yeah, man. So you just need to hop on back on the channel and the comment section. Their live stream will pop up not long after. And what helps as well, listeners, if you click the notification bell, so that when the stream starts, you will be notified to come on over to the channel.
Indianapolis, it don't rain. In Indianapolis in the winter time. Oh no, there's no such thing as Martha's shoes. Disneyland and Mother Goose ain't no mess around. Johnny Ray, the little Indianapolis, it don't rain. Indianapolis in the winter time. Oh no, when myself is feeling low, I think about the face of flow that is my mind. Well now, hey, well, the promised land, going to the promised land. Yes, the promised land. Oh gosh, now to the promised land. Hey.
So that's about it for the show. Thank you so much for tuning in to Nationwide this morning, NTM. Thanks so much to our super producer, Mitchell McCray Smith, our technical operator, Jermaine King. Up next, the Consumer Hour with Norgay Banton, and at 10, the Fuse Online. I'm Tana.
And I'm George.
Good morning.
Oh gosh, to the promised land, oh, to the promised land. Well, there's plenty of land for you and I.
You've just heard Nationwide this morning on Nationwide 90 FM.
To share for everyone.
It's time for Hot Listings, Nationwide 90 FM's on-air classifieds, made for quick ads and fast results.
Need your garments altered? Come to Annie G's. At Annie G, we alter all male and female garments professionally. Call 876-858-7908. That's Annie G's. 876-858-7908.
That was Hot Listings on Nationwide 90 FM. Listings start as low as $1,500. Call 876-630-1210 to book yours today.
Fearless and fair. Nationwide 90 FM.